All righty, fellas, what's going on? I think I got 95% of my voice back for the most part. It's not completely cooked anymore. But yeah, a lot of news came out over the weekend. We had, some Ruben Bain stuff, which could affect the NFL draft. We had, of course, the hoopla of the Travis Hunter discourse that has been going on for the last week or so. The Rashee Rice stuff came out earlier last week and whatnot. Danny, I did what I wish I did more often, to be honest, which is sit down with my dynasty rosters, go through every one of my teams, and essentially do like dynasty decisions to myself, where I go, okay, these are my three biggest weaknesses. And I looked at some of my rosters and I was like, hey, let's send out a bunch of trades. So across, probably 10 to 12 of my dynasty leagues, I sent out 3 to 5 trades per league. I ended up getting 4 of them done, which is, you guys might be like, you guys get so many trades done. Well, I'm in 17 leagues. I probably went through 10 or 12 of them in depth, and I probably sent out a total of 30 trades, if not more. So the fact that I only got 4 done should tell you exactly how difficult it sometimes is to make a trade, especially in April when people aren't always paying attention and that kind of thing. So, Danny, I just want you to quickly, in the first 5 minutes here, we'll just go through this really fast. These are the trades I made. So going into this league, this is flocked up. I scored the most points in the league last year, but I was bounced in the semifinals. Part of my problem, I thought, was I'm a very strong contender now, but I was kind of not going all the way in. So this is a 2x tight end premium. You could see the 2 trades that I made on the side there. I sold the 2026 105, which I got from Jared before the season, and the 210 in exchange for Tyler Warren in the 407. It's a 2x premium. So Warren obviously going to have quite a bit of value in that format. The original trade I sent him was just 105 straight.
Yeah, which again, I think is reasonable. I think technically in my dynasty rankings, I would have Kenyon Sadiq ahead of Tyler Warren, or at least like they're back to back for me. But understanding but like understanding that you do need point equity, I don't mind shipping the 210. They're literally back to back anyways. Just for me, I'm a little bit concerned with the Colts offensive situation going forward, coming off of that Achilles tear for Daniel Jones. But at the same time, like if Sadiq gets a terrible landing spot, like obviously that can even it out too. So,
well, not to mention I understand the possession receiver is gone now also with Michael Pittman, and Warren could step into that role potentially. Maybe that's why they felt comfortable moving off of Pittman. The other trade I just made what's up?
I said that makes total sense.
Yeah, the other weakness on my team was that my quarterbacks were Bo Nix, Baker Mayfield, and Tua Tagovailoa. So I just decided, you know what? This team is really strong. It's a team that I feel very confident, RBs 1 through 5 all being potential RB1s this year, and also a pretty solid stable of wide receivers. And again, now I have a tight end. In a 2x tight end premium, you can throw a Gadsden or a Goddard into your flex if you need to as well, because they're going to, project for 13 to 15 points on good games. I sold my, obviously, hopefully late projected 2027 first, Dontavian Wicks in a third for Jared Goff in the 307. According to the trade calculator, it said I was robbing him. But the only thing that I had some hesitancy about making this trade was, does Jared Goff move the needle for me? That was my only thing with it, because now I'm just going to have a weekly start-sit decision of Bo Nix, Jared Goff, and Baker Mayfield, whoever has the good matchup or whatnot. In an ideal world, I would have liked to take Baker Mayfield plus my 27 first and go get a better quarterback or something like that. But I also needed a QB3 at the same time.
I think that makes sense. I mean, in terms of the contenders in this league, what Devo won the title this year?
I think so. Yeah, he ended up winning the title. I mean, he's got me on high end talent for sure. But my team is quite deep and very,
because I know I lost in the semifinal as well in this league, I believe, or I either lost in the semifinal or I missed the playoff by 1 game. It was either or.
If I sort by the contending rankings, it is myself, you, and Devo at the top here. And again, like you could see kind of how high end some of my players are going. Like the fact that these 5 guys are my running backs are like, they're all very high projections. And also, like I said, now that I have Tyler Warren, there is some flexibility there in a 2x tight end premium to throw another tight end in the flex. Like if you were flexing Dallas Goedert all year in a 2x tight end premium, he probably scored you 14 to 15 points a game.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like when I'm looking at your team versus mine in this league, like you definitely, I think, have more depth for sure.
Yeah, which is also kind of why I tried to consolidate a little bit on the picks that I had, and going after Goff and going after Warren there. So those were 2 of the trades I made. I made 2 more, both in the same league again. I did tweet one of these out. So Scott does have a juggernaut in this league. Keep that in mind. So there is a monster in this league. However, I've been consistently a playoff team for 4 straight years. And I ended up going after a player that would increase the ceiling of my roster. I traded my 27 second, which
I love this move.
Based on the roster that you have here, at the very least, it's mid, if not probably late. Like I said, I've been in the playoffs for 4 straight years, and this league is very top heavy to the point that anybody who's in a contending window pretty much makes the playoffs because there's so many like teams that are tanking that it's pretty easy to make the playoffs if you have contending pieces. And then Travis Hunter was the player I acquired, who obviously was the source of a lot of discussion this week. People talking about him playing permanently on defense. That's not what the quote said. It was Ian Rappaport going out and saying, hey, remember when our Cameron Wolf in February reported that he's going to be primarily a corner, but he's going to moonlight on the wide receiver position? That's what Cameron Wolf reported. James Gladstone and John Shipley, who covers the Jaguars, have both echoed that it will be a fluid situation. It could depend on injuries and, how, but you and I are both of the opinion too, that once Travis Hunter gets out there for training camp and they give him reps at both positions, they're going to see, like they did last year, by the way, that he belongs on offense more than defense, because on offense last season, he played double the amount of snaps as he played on defense.
Yeah, no, I'm on the same page there. It's funny because I also see in chat, just want to check in and see how Danny's doing after. I mean, like, again, like that's not new.
It's not news. It was a repetitive report of Ian Rappaport saying, hey, remember when Cam Wolf reported this? And again, Cam Wolf, not a Jaguars reporter, a national reporter. The Jaguars reporters are saying, yes, he could play a little bit more on defense this year, but we do expect it week to week, month to month, season to season to be a fluid situation. And both of us are of the opinion that once they see him on offense, they'll want to do more of it.
Also, we were talking about this league right before, and I forgot how stacked my wide receiver core was. Running backs is definitely something I'm going to have to fill. This is flocked up with the one we were just going through.
Yeah, no, it's a good looking squad.
Just I need Neighbors to be fully healthy. I need Kraft to be fully healthy. Like there's some.
Well, if you need a stopgap tight end, I got tons of them. Goddard or something like that.
Oh, right. This is the league I traded. I had Brock Bowers. I traded Bowers for Lamb plus what ended up being the 201 going into the season.
Not bad. Anyway, sorry, I just want to wrap up my team here so that we can get into the reviews. So the trade I made, Travis Hunter for Jalen Coker in a mid to late projected second. Again, some people on half of my Twitter replies were like, you overpaid. I love Coker, second round pick, blah, blah, blah. Frankly, I just think that Travis Hunter's value is basically at his floor. And you could argue, okay, he permanently switches to defense and he's worth absolutely nothing at that point. I'll take that risk for this price point. An undrafted free agent wide receiver in a mid to late second. Like, I'll take the risk that Travis Hunter is the player that we thought. And then this one, I kind of viewed as like almost like a little bit of a gift in my inbox, where he sent, I sent him an offer for Kenneth Walker that was like, I can't remember what it was. It was like Trevion Henderson and a 2 or something like that was the initial offer. He sends me back Kenneth Walker and T. Higgins for my 109 Trevion Henderson and Khalil Shakir, which I thought was too good to pass up.
Shakir's garbage in this context.
This league is also a half PPR for what it's worth as well. Yeah, so like Shakir is not going to have a lot of value, and Henderson loses value as well.
And the 109 loses value.
Yeah. So, I mean, Kenneth Walker and T. Higgins, both, touchdown scoring guys, especially Walker now with the Chiefs, and T. Higgins, obviously 10 touchdowns in 12 games or whatever he played last year. So yeah, I feel pretty good about both of those trades. But anyways, let's get back to your guys' teams, because we do have a lot of team reviews to get through on this one.
What's that guy's name? Grand Champion fucking... There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, something to do with Grand Champ. Anyways, Arthur, who I quickly want to shout out, and I'll do this live on here. Arthur bought 3 books from Maria. So free team review voucher. That's the deal. You guys pre-order 3 books of hers, you get a free team review. And the Google form is in the link of this live stream and also in the description of all of our videos. So if you want 2 free trade questions to pre-order 1 book, a full team review if you pre-order 3 books. So really appreciate that. Said, I only want the Canadians' advice. Obviously, the meme from last live stream that someone asked for my advice specifically. 1 quarterback league, coming out of a rebuild, 23-game losing streak. Epic tank job. What would be your advice? What would you target in trades? What should you do with my 2026 picks? So obviously, he's going to be a rebuilder. So let's sort by rebuild. 10-team, 1 quarterback. I mean, hammers are all that's going to really matter in this format. Drake May is going to obviously lose value in a 1 quarterback. He's not going to be nearly as valuable, but he's still obviously a great quarterback to have. You have the 101.
I love this build. Wow.
Jeremiyah Love. You're going to add probably Lemon or Tate, and then you're also going to be able to add a lot of depth pieces.
This is erotic. Like, this is erotic. You just add in Jeremiyah Love. Boom. RB 1 and 2 set long term. Quarterback 1. Boom. You got our 101 in Dynasty. I understand. It's 1 quarterback league, but in a super flex context, you have our quarterback 1. Aronde Gadsden, boom, upside at tight end there. Like maybe you use a pick on another competitive option. I like AJ Barner's depth. Maybe if the 302 comes across the board and you can add like a
Justin
Claire,
Jolie or Claire, yeah.
someone like that, I wouldn't mind adding some competition. But this is as free roll can possibly get. Number 1 pick, yeah, Jeremiyah Love. Number 2 pick, Tate or Lemon would be our options. Obviously, I have Tate 101 or 102. You have Lemon at 102.
Realistically, even for me, it's probably just going to come down to landing spot, most likely for those two guys.
And call me crazy, but like at that point, I don't even care what's on the board 109, 201, 209, 301, 302, 401. Like if you can somehow leverage a combination of those picks, maybe it's 109 plus 209 or maybe it's 109 plus 201 and you get a 27, 1 and 2. Like, can you negotiate that type of package? Because I wouldn't mind, again, adding the top 2 players in this class, trying to punt the 109, 201, 209, whatever the fucking combination ends up being, and seeing if you get an extra 27 first here. Because if you have 227 first, potentially add a quarterback 2 at that point. We'll see if you maybe can sell high on Kyler. Maybe, Sam.
Well, it's a 1 quarterback league. So these guys.
Oh, right. Sorry. I forgot the context. 1 quarterback league. Even still though, maybe you can, you're not going to get Jeremiah Smith, but maybe the wide receiver 3 that emerges, or maybe the RB3 that emerges.
Yeah, you're probably not going to be able to tank for the 101 next year based on the team that you're going to have. I also,
you don't have a pressing.
He's actually a little closer than most teams that look like this would be. So one thing that you could do as well, if nobody's giving you 27 capital or whatever, you could always take the 109 and 201 and go after your favorite buy low young player. Like, let's say, for example, with the 109 and 201, you can get, I'm trying to think of somebody that would fit his build that's like under 25 years old that you could go buy. Like maybe you're high on Bucky Irving. I'm just as an example. Maybe 109 plus 209 gets you Bucky Irving. Maybe 109 straight gets you Marvin Harrison Jr. to give you upside in your receiver core. Like I would probably go in that direction. Would I buy Tootin for 109? No, I don't think so. At 1 quarterback, 10 team, 109, that's probably about relative fair market value, but I probably wouldn't buy Tootin for that. Just not on this team. At least I don't want to take the risk unnecessarily.
He got offered a 27 first for BTJ, and he got offered Tootin for the 109 and the 201.
Yeah, I wouldn't do the Tootin deal. BTJ for a 27-1.
That's what that projects, because like you do have Hunter for what it's worth. So like,
yeah, and it's guaranteed to be top 10 because it's a 10-team league.
Yeah, I would need.
I think I'd probably take that, to be honest.
If that's in the middle projection, that's probably where I'd feel comfortable. If it's
the only way I don't take that, to be honest, is if it's like the truly best team in the league or one of the 3 best teams in the league.
If it's in the 108 to 110 range, I'd regret that.
It's Mexican Furious is first, he said.
Mexican Furious.
Am I blind? I don't see any team named Mexican Furious.
Which one of the ones on the screen?
Yeah, which guy's first is it that you see on the screen here?
Yeah.
Either way, like, yeah, I would say gift in my inbox got Purdy for Stroud.
Wow.
Up. You love to see that. That's a fucking great gift.
Hawaiian Punch. Okay, let's take a look at this guy. What's his value at?
Strong contender. Yeah, I mean, you're probably talking about a late projected first.
That might be the 110.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brian Thomas Jr. fits your build. If you don't want to sell, like that's 108 to 110 most likely.
I would hold for that.
I'd probably hold for that too, because BTJ does fit your build. But if you're like, hey, I have Brian, like you have a big dynasty portfolio. If you're like, I have a lot of Brian Thomas already, I have Hunter on this team as well. Maybe you could get him to throw in a little bit more just to get that deal done. Maybe it's like the 108 to 110 projected next year plus his 2 or something.
Yeah, like keep in mind too, Corey, I have BTJ at 17. You have him at 22. So like I would need
it's within the same tier for me though.
Yeah, fair. But I mean, overall, again, just keep adding to this roster. You're gonna get 2 needle movers here. I'm assuming, again, Jeremiyah Love plus either of our wide receiver ones is probably going to be your fit. Maybe you're a Tyson guy. We wouldn't do it, but
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to trading up too. If 109 plus 201 can get you in the territory of a Tyson, or maybe one of the other receivers, like let's say Omar Cooper goes to the Bills or something, and he's like the consensus 106 in your draft. Like maybe you could move up just for a slightly bigger needle moving type of asset. But I would definitely go after the veteran market, just because the 109 and 201 are not really that great of picks in a 10-team league. In a 1 quarterback, you might be able to go after, I don't think you'll get to Devon Achane necessarily, because he's going to go for more than that.
I think it would
somebody in the same market value realm where people are like down on him.
I mean, you could see if you could move up a couple picks to get Sadiq. I like Gadsden, but like If you have the opportunity to say it costs 109 plus 209 for the 106 or something like that, and Sadiq's on the board, like I would obviously venture that as well. I guess it's one quarterback, so maybe Sadiq's probably gone by the 5th pick, knowing that Mendoza's not going to be going that high. Some lunatic's not going to take Simpson that high. Like,
I'm fine going after needle movers on the open market too. Like if it's 109 plus 201 plus 209 for Colson Loveland as well, like go, you know what I mean? Like you're in a position where anybody that's under 24 that has a lot of long-term viability fits your build. So I would go after players like that and target the teams near the bottom here that like maybe have one player like that. Like this guy only really has Achane, only really has McConkey at receiver. Maybe they're of the mindset that they should be tearing down into multiple assets to try and make up what they're missing on their roster. Like I was because I sent out like 30 trades this weekend. I was DMing a guy who, in my opinion, should have been doing something like that. He had like one good receiver, one good running back. And I was trying to convince him essentially like, hey, if I were in your position, I would probably be thinking, hey, I got to tear down from this asset and, you know, amoeba it into a bunch of different picks and then try and hit on those picks because there's no way I'm going to compete. And this was a league that I'm in that has like an absolute monster in it. I'm like, you are never, ever going to compete with this guy's team if you have one good receiver and one good running back and are not willing to rebuild.
Yeah, no, I agree. But overall, I mean, you clearly know what you're doing, Arthur. I've seen you, do this with how many teams at this point?
Yeah,
like
and also
20,
Arthur knows
30?
how to consolidate and go with the best asset. Like in our listener league this year, I'm pretty sure he started like random guys off of the waiver wire, and then like the 4 best players in fantasy were like his starting lineup.
Well,
Wasn't
it was
that
like
his listener league team?
Something like that. It was like
Puka, JSN, Achane, and somebody, and Josh Allen, and then like a bunch of waiver wire ads.
It was like me and Flock Me Silly because this year, again, it's a dynasty league and I wasn't competing, but like all I had was Hurts, Igbuka, Nakua, Hampton, Loveland, Coker, and Jaden Daniels. Like that was just my entire team. And obviously when I had bye weeks, like I was filling them in with like Greg Dulcich and Mason Taylor and fucking for reference, my bench on this team right now is Jameis Winston, Phillip Rivers, Henry Ruggs, Terrence Ferguson, Mason Taylor, Taysom Hill, and Greg Dulcich. And I have guys like Demario Douglas, Darren Waller, Isaiah Bond, and Jalen Wright currently in the starting lineup.
That's crazy.
But I somehow won like 5 games, I want to say, because like literally when those guys went off, they just won the week.
Yeah, no, literally. Also, I really appreciate you, Jordan. He said in the chat, just pre-ordered 3 books. Let's get that New York Times bestseller. And for those of you guys that are just joining us, my fiance's book comes out May 8th. It is a book of poetry. And it comes out right before Mother's Day. So for the mother, wife, sister, female friend in your life, especially if they grew up like Christian, because that's a lot of the poems are like about kind of breaking out of a very conservative Christian religion and stuff. If you pre-order 3 books, you get a free team review. If you pre-order 1 book, you get 2 free trade questions, and you can fill out the Google form there and put your Flock username in and all that good stuff. So Arthur and Jordan have both done it already, and I really appreciate both of you guys. You already got the book. What the hell happened there? Where did you, Mason, if you don't mind, can you text me where you got that from? Because the book is not out yet. So I don't know how you would have gotten the book already. Maybe there's some kind of distribution issue with whatever platform you got it from. Or maybe you put in that you're an influencer or something. I don't know. Maybe that's why you got it already. But yeah, just text me where you got the book from and I'll let Maria know that her distributor's just fucking sending out books now. I mean, not a terrible thing. Pre-order books still count for the first week sales. But anyways, back to our regularly scheduled Arthur's team review where we always go on tangents. Yeah, very straightforward. You're going to be going on and adding young players and consolidating where possible. We can move on to JT Kang here. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't know what that even means. Empire startup that drafted in January during the NFL playoffs before 2026 ADPs were adjusted. When you're eligible to win the Empire pool, you can't trade that whole season.
What?
So what does that exactly mean? If you're a contender,
if you win 2 years in a row, you just can't make a trade in the next year.
Oh, okay. I see. All right. So is the Empire means that the league shuts down if you go back to back, right?
Oh, so if you win 1, then like the following year, they just say,
I thought an Empire League was when every 4 years the pool was bigger.
No, an Empire League is like whenever somebody accomplishes a feat, the league resets.
I see. Okay. How do I set up my team
But like say every year, the buy-in for the normal league is like $100 or something. and you pay it out in relevance to like $100, maybe the buy-in's like 125 or 150, I think is how they do it.
Commie ass league. That is crazy. Okay, so
Not
he
being
said,
able to trade in the back-to-back here.
well,
Are
so
you
he's
kidding me?
asking, how can I punt this? So I'm assuming he won the league. Or no, he said it's an Empire startup. Okay, so how do I set up my team to win, not just this year, but back to back? Okay, so he wants to try and win back to back and shut this fucking thing down pretty quick. That's a great strategy, not gonna lie. In an Empire startup, if people go with a rebuild or a 1 year punt, they got to be clenching their cheeks that somebody doesn't go back to back until, because otherwise they just dodo to the league pot. Anyways, this is the team that he has. He's hoping to really shut this thing down quickly. I mean, the fact that you were able to build such a strong roster while also having the 104, 105, 108, 112, like, I'm not even sure how you were able to accomplish this, to be honest, because you have players that are all going super high in startups. Like, I would assume that JSN, Achane, and Hertz were your first 3 picks. And then you also then collected a bunch of rookie picks that maybe were just going lower in ADP or something. But I mean, if you're trying to win, the obvious answer here is that you should probably be looking to sell those rookie picks closer to the rookie draft, where maybe 104 is able to get you a Tyler Warren or a Colston Loveland or something to help your tight end position. Maybe 105 is able to get you another hammer running back, like maybe you're high on Brees Hall or something like that.
If you can get Loveland for the 104, definitely inquire about that. I would even
But
be
yeah,
willing
I
to
mean,
go
you're in a position also too that any guys that project even just for a 2-year window at an elite level, like, you can actually afford to overpay for, because you're definitely going to be one of the favorites to win the league. Like, so if somebody's like, hey, I want your 108 and your 112 for Saquon Barkley and Devontae Adams, or I guess you already have Devontae Adams, but Saquon Barkley and Mike Evans or something like that, even though that's kind of an overpay inherently, you're going to be in a position maybe to shut the league down. So it probably wouldn't be the worst thing to just truly go all in and have 2 of the best players, contending.
I'd probably aim a little higher than that, but yeah.
I mean, like, using the contender feature on the My Team setting here and finding as many top 3 round, top 4 round redraft assets as you can is not the worst idea, because you already have McCaffrey's going super high in drafts, Achane's going super high in drafts, JSN's going super high in drafts. Like, you already have guys that are already going really high.
I will say he does still need some depth. Like,
he does,
realistically, one more wide receiver, one more strong running back. Then I'd feel very confident. Obviously,
but you got to remember, this is a startup. This is a new startup.
Yeah,
no, I know. Team than this.
I know, but what I'm saying is, like, you still, like, it's still very, very difficult to win 2 in a row. Like, that's what I would say. Yeah. In order to get to that level, like, that's what you need to do. But I mean, obviously, when we're talking pure valuation out of a startup, he crushed it.
Yeah, and again, if you're able to, let's say, trade the 104 plus something for Colston Loveland, trade the 105 plus something for another running back or wide receiver in that territory, trade the 108 maybe for a straight up contending running back like a Saquon Barkley or something, maybe the 112 plus something gets you Josh Jacobs or Derrick Henry or something. Like, you could go.
I guess the only issue is
quarterback. Maybe you want to address as well.
I guess the only issue there is, you just mentioned it. Like, this is right out of a startup. Like, I'm assuming those players might have went higher than those picks, hence why he has such a stacked valuation.
Well, he also said the startup was in January, though, right? Yeah. So he picked these picks in January, and since January, the combine happened. Everybody's learning about the rookies, and as we know, in January, rookie picks are going to be cheaper to acquire than on the clock during the rookie draft, or even this time of year when people have learned about the class and whatnot. So I would go to the rebuilders, like this guy's Jamar, whatever. He has picks already. You can obviously convince him to go further into the direction of a rebuild, and you could tell him, hey, this guy's got Bijan Robinson on his roster. This guy's got Jamar Chase on his roster, and you could actually use a quarterback upgrade, and he has Dak Prescott on his roster. You could really send this guy a wagon of a package. Like, you have 104, 105, 108, and 112. Danny, would you send him 104, 108, a 105, and 112 for Bijan and Dak Prescott? Because I would in a heartbeat.
Easily.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think that's available.
But this guy's a total rebuild. Like, he might be just, drooling at the thought of all those picks.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you can try it. If he does that, then, like, that's very good.
So again, go find the rebuilding teams. Go after their contending assets. Maybe it's a quarterback upgrade because you just have Kyler and Hurts. Maybe it's another running back piece. Your biggest weaknesses are quarterback 2/3, running back 2/3, and maybe even a third running back or a fourth running back. And then you could probably use another wide receiver and obviously a tight end as well.
I got confused by the numbers first, but I realized you were sorted by dynasty or by contending.
He's coming to say hi.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, Maz. You better
Yeah,
behave because I'm going to take you out of this room otherwise.
I agree, Big Beauty. I think
No,
that
of
would
course
be a
not. Of
very
course
good
not. I'm throwing out a nonsensical trade for this purpose of describing the exercise. You are going to need to get off my keyboard. Here, if you keep
that
talking
sale was
about anything
extended.
else you'd add with this team, I'm just going to get him out of here.
Yeah, I mean, no. I mean, overall, when we're looking at the team, I think we kind of outlined it. 104, if you can, transition. I think Colson Loveland would be a perfect trade target. Colson Loveland would probably cost not much more than the 104. Maybe you have to add in the 3 threes, get it done, or something in that capacity. Maybe you throw in the 112, you get something back like a 27-2. I think if you can get Colson Loveland around the 104 valuation, maybe, a 20% buffer in terms of a plus, I'd be willing to do that. 105, like Corey said, maybe you get another needle moving wide receiver, maybe another needle moving type of running back. 105, can that get you near Ken Walker? Like, and again, obviously we're kind of just spitfiring right now because we don't know how these managers value these players directly out of the startup. Like we could be saying a trade offer and be like, oh, well, X player went 2 rounds ahead of the asset you just said to trade
Right,
for.
exactly.
Like, it's kind of hard to tell with that context of a startup league, but in terms of like the direction that I would go, if you can consolidate into another running back, into a stud tight end, again, Colson Loveland is just the easiest free roll to me because the guy's going literally on the 3-4 turn on underdog, and he's 21 years old, and he's being treated kind of like a tier after, I would say, the top 2 guys in terms of most markets. And to me, I have him ranked in that tier. Like I have him a little bit after McBride and Bowers, but the minute Loveland has 850 yards and 7 touchdowns this year for a 12-5 Bears team, like we saw what it did to Caleb Williams' value.
Yeah, no, not to mention too, like this is a good example of a team to target because he took 3 tight ends during the startup, and you could just go after
how much
like
plus the 108 can get you Kraft
or like just see like what I do in situations like this because I literally it's fresh on my mind. I just did it all weekend. Is I'll find a team like this who obviously solves a need for me. You're in a position where you need a tight end. You can go, okay, Tucker Kraft, Kyle Pitts, Sam Laporta, DM the guy. Who are you most likely to move? He might say, hey, I'm most likely to move Sam Laporta. I'm worried about the back injury, or maybe he's most likely to move Kraft or whatever. Get some information from him and then send him an offer over. And I think you could definitely, get one of these guys potentially on the cheap because he's going to be heavily motivated to move one of them, seeing as that he has 3 top 8 dynasty tight ends.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, overall, this is a
the team's in great shape. And the nice thing is we talk about this all the time. Like you could truly go in either direction. I outlined the truly contending scenario. Let's try and win this thing and shut the league down. You kind of outlined let's do a bit of a slower build, maybe build it up to the point that it's a monster by year 2 to 4 of the league's history. Yeah. Either way, because of the picks that you have and because of also the assets that you currently possess, you could truly go in either direction. Like, let's say you're like, hey, I'm going to build this thing the right way. I'm going to send one of these picks plus some other assets for Colson Loveland, and then I'm going to spend the rest of them. And I'm going to just build up a really strong team because I like the 104. I like grabbing Fernando Mendoza there or whatever as my second quarterback. I like grabbing at 108 a Casey Concepcion. I like grabbing, et cetera, at 112, Jonah Coleman with 3rd round capital or whatever. You could really build this thing up the right way, or you could mix and match whatever you feel like is necessary. But I would talk to as many managers in your league as humanly possible because that's going to give you the best, array of like moves that you can make.
Yeah, for sure. But I think we could go on to Jordan's team. Unless you have
we can move on. Also, Miss Demand says, I'm subscribed through Domain. Can I still get a blueprint from you guys? So the blueprint is Domain's product. So if you want a blueprint, you do have to go to Domain for that. You can buy a live team review from us, what we're doing right now. And in the next coming weeks, we will have a Dynasty Decisions 2.0 dropping, which is a, printable thing that will show your team and some of the moves that you can make. Not obviously the same as a blueprint. It'll be a lot more focused on strategy than it will be on like a, blueprint of your team. But there is, it's a similar-ish product that's coming out in a couple of weeks. If you sign up for an annual right now, for those of you guys listening, you sign up for an annual, you get a free team review voucher. Maybe hold that for the time being, because when you redeem that voucher, you will get a Dynasty Decisions 2.0 for free as our new site incentive to use our code.
Yeah, and the way it's going to be structured mostly is instead of just giving you like players to buy, players to sell, it's more so going to be analyzing your team and coming up with the decisions that we think are most pertinent towards turning it around, whether it's a rebuild, getting value, whether it's a contender. There will be some moves to make. There'll also be some natural macro strategy stuff that we will point out, but we have it planned out to the point where we're just going to go into your team, give you the best information that we possibly can, and give you ways in terms of how to actually actualize it. Sorry.
Yeah. And
a lot of word mumble, but you guys will like, it's hard to really explain it over word. Once we show you guys the actual product when it's officially out, it's gonna be a lot easier and you guys will enjoy it.
Yeah, and the plan also is to still do live team reviews like we're doing now. It's not like we're going to not do these anymore. We're doing the live team review, talking through everything, and then after the live stream is over, we'll send you the Dynasty Decisions 2.0, or maybe we'll, like when they first come out, Danny, it's probably a good idea if maybe you and I do one of the 2.0s ahead of time so that we can showcase what it looks like. But
even for our own team and show you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Or we do it for like the first review of this live stream or whatever. We could show people what it looks like then. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really excited about that. For those of you guys that are annuals, your annual voucher will get you one of those for free. But if you do want to purchase it outright, it'll be the live team review plus a Dynasty Decisions 2.0. So it'll be like a tier 2 team review that we'll have live. But anyways, Jordan, we have.
He also mentions in another league. So I'm pointing this out because obviously we're talking.
Yeah, this is his team review.
So. Thoughts on my Laporta trade in the Flock Me Sideways league. So he actually he just made this in our recent startup. He traded away, what was it?
He traded AJ Brown, Jordan Addison, and Mark Andrews for Sam Laporta in the 106. From JT. You know what's hilarious? The person he traded with is the review we just did.
Yeah, funny enough. So I messaged him because I was curious. I'm like, oh, what are you thinking at the 106? And like, obviously 106 in most rooms is probably going to be Kenyon Sadiq, but I was curious because you acquired Sam Laporta, what you were planning to do at the 106. So like, I'm just curious because I'm picking 107, 108, and 110. So I was like, okay, like, are you taking Sadiq? Are you trading Laporta? Like, I just kind of wanted to get a gauge, and that's what I'll always do. If I see you make a move, I'm always trying to inquire and get any type of context I can.
It's wild that you actually asked him that, because I would assume if it was me that I was picking at 107 and I wanted Sadiq, I would probably just assume that he's no longer going to take Sadiq.
Yeah, which is fair. Again, like,
Laporta.
I'm more so just inquiring to see where his head's at, and like obviously, you know, if he likes an Omar Cooper to the Bills or fucking Casey to the Rams, like that could impact it, but. More so just like I'm curious where his thoughts are. I know he's got a couple.
I know being active never hurts. I mean,
you know me, like if I can have a conversation piece that I can inquire about, I'm always like wanting to talk.
You're also just like a howdy doody figure that people tend to just overshare with, so that helps.
Not really.
I find that most people will tell you a lot more than they'll tell me. I've noticed.
You just gotta ask, because I tell people.
Trust me, I go about it the same way.
Hey, I tell people what they need to know sometimes. No, like it's the same.
Yeah, no, I do the same thing. Like when I've had people DM me and say like I'm picking 102 or something, and they'll be like, "Hey, you thinking Hampton or Hunter?" I'm just curious because I pick 104 or something like that, and I'm like, I'm probably gonna go Hunter or whatever.
And also too, like you inquire more knowledge about them. It's like, hey, like if I ask you, are you thinking about Sadiq here? Are you thinking about elsewhere at 106? Then I can kind of get a gist for what you're planning to do in general. Like, for example, if I ask you that specific question, if you say, no, I don't want Sadiq, or, oh, I want Sadiq, maybe I understand then Laporta's expendable, or maybe I understand then Sadiq might be available. Like just like natural things like that. I just like having conversations about.
Yeah, and Jay Metal and I were talking about something earlier, I think, that he was very honest about. Yeah, I usually say like transparently, like, hey, you're picking, like if it was Jordan that I was talking to, I'd be like, I'm just curious if you still plan on taking Sadiq, because transparently, now that you traded for Laporta, I probably wouldn't in your situation. That's why I would like ask something like that.
And I have Tucker Kraft. I was more so just curious. I'm like, oh, like, is Sadiq going to be available at the 107? I'd have interest in him. Maybe I like change my plans because of that. Like, again, free information never hurts, and I've given Jordan information as well, so like having that is a nice little balance here. And speaking of Jordan, this is his other team that he has up for review. I'm curious if you submitted the Flock Me Sideways, because I know you had a couple here.
Yeah, he has another one here in a second. Maybe he did. He said he got flocked out of the 101. Shout out. That's a good shout out there, because the toilet bowl winner gets it. Okay, so I mean that's fair. I think a lot of leagues do that. Trying to fill the gaps and win again. Won 2 years ago and missed the money. Decent trade happy league, but it's a one quarterback, half PPR, and it's IDP. And you can see he has Travis Hunter on his roster. So, I mean, it's the only player I care about for IDP purposes, to be honest. We don't know anything about IDP.
That's insane.
So, yeah, that's obviously great. I mean, you have
toilet bowl winner getting the 101. I don't know how I feel about that.
That's just so easily. The reason I think that that's not the best strategy is because it's so easy. It
doesn't reward the worst team.
If you really wanted to just tank your starting lineup to get the toilet bowl 101.
Yeah, and then on top of that, if you know you're completely out for the running, then you're like, oh shit, I'm not going to make the playoffs. Let me go trade my 2028 first for some contending assets because then I can win the toilet bowl and increase my pick to the 101. Like I
winning
know
the toilet bowl means you.
Yeah.
How do you not know how to win a toilet bowl? You just lost one in the.
Oh, I was thinking it was
No,
sorry,
you
I
don't
thought it was
win the
reverse.
toilet bowl. You
Sorry,
lose the toilet bowl by losing.
I was thinking of the consolation playoffs. I just misunderstood the fucking answer. My bad.
Yeah, lowest max points 4. Get the fuck out. That's how we are.
Lowest max point 4 is the way you do it, no matter what. Sorry, my apologies. I fucking misread it, and I was thinking there was literally a playoffs for the non-playoff teams, and the winner because they did that in the Debbie Disciples League. Like the fucking, it was the consolation bracket winner got a free 213. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Was that the Debbie Disciples League?
Yeah.
Oh,
I lost in the final for that league. And again, I'm a tanking team. Like the guy who won it ended up being like the 7 seed who barely fucking missed the playoffs. And he just gets a free Debbie 213. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, that's awesome. Yeah. But sorry, I just misread the answer. I'll let you.
But yeah, like the team's got a couple good foundational pieces. Caleb, he said it's a 1 quarterback league, obviously. So Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, you're going to be fine with those 2 guys going forward. Tootin, interesting upside option. Hunter in an IDP is obviously going to have a lot of value. Rashee Rice, more of a competitive type of wide receiver, in my opinion. Like if I had a rebuild right now, I would probably be looking to move off of Rice because his value just spiked. A lot of people are going to look at the redraft projection, view him as a top. Like he's going to go what on Underdog with no suspension? Top 12, probably, right? Top 10, maybe among receivers.
Yeah, I mean the guy was a 2-3 turn pick last year, and he kind of reinforced what everybody thought.
Like, where is he actually going right now? Let me see.
Probably like wide receiver 10. I would guess
wide receiver 11. Yeah. So yeah, he's going high. Like people recognize that, you know, when you're on the board looking for a wide receiver in a full, this is a half PPR also, just like Underdog is, but in a full PPR, especially Rashee Rice is going to have a lot of value this season, but he turns 26 after the year. He also, we don't know what his long-term future is with the Kansas City Chiefs. He is the definition, in my opinion, of contending teams should be buying him and rebuilding teams should be selling him because we don't know what the long-term future is, both from a knucklehead standpoint and from a contractual standpoint. But this team, 102, 103, 104, in a 1 quarterback league, you're going to walk away with the 3 best receivers in the class. So Rashee Rice, Travis Hunter, plus, you know, Tate, Tyson, and Lemon, you're going to walk away with. That's pretty good. And I would look to be selling Rashee Rice at this point, like I said, because you're going to be adding 3 receivers and because he's a little bit riskier.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair.
I mean, you're going to add your running backs next year. It's pretty straightforward to me. You have 427 firsts and 2 seconds. That's where your running backs are going to come from.
I think bottom 4 is more reasonable if you did it like that. For me personally, though, when I'm looking at like the 7 seed who barely missed the playoffs is going up against the fucking 12th best team in the league. When I look at that, I'm like, okay, like, do we really need 6 teams in a consolation bracket competing for, again, an asset like 101? If it's bottom 4, it's like, okay, those guys all probably won between like 2 and 4 games or 2 and 5.
Yeah,
games.
It's like when the Mavericks won the fucking draft lottery last year, and now they have a guy whose highlight reel looks like he's in his 7th NBA season, and he's fucking 18 years old or 19 years old.
The Mavs were the 7-7 barely missing team who lucked out in the toilet bowl and won Jeremiyah Love. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, they like. I saw someone put out a highlight reel of Cooper Flagg's rookie season. I'm like, this guy's a fucking monster. Like, and they got him by not even being close to the worst team in the NBA.
Well, once he feels more comfortable efficiently hitting those shots from his spots, man, like the guy can get to the rim whenever he wants.
As a slasher, he's insane.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's like obviously the jump shot will need like a little bit more development, but like the fact that he's already where he's at 18, he's so freakishly athletic. He's a fucking 6'11", do it all wing. Obviously,
his ceiling, like I hate to wish a crazy name out there, but like if he develops a shot, his ceiling is Kevin Durant.
I don't see that. I would say like a better version of Tatum is probably like where the comparison would be.
I mean, what about Giannis?
Giannis is a 101 alien.
Yeah, he is.
He's such a 101 alien.
But, like as a Giannis 6'11" is slasher.
Giannis is literally like the power forward version of what like peak Shaq was like, where it's like, he's getting to the rim and you're just not keeping him from it.
Yeah. Like, speaking of really tiny, quick side tangent, I was watching with bated breath last night because the Raptors beat Brooklyn and the Hawks lost to Boston. Which results in us playing the Cavs in the first round instead of the fucking Knicks, who I didn't want to play. So,
are they the 5 seed?
They're the 5 seed. Yeah, they were the 6 seed for a couple weeks there. But now we're the 5 seed and we play the Cavs instead of the Knicks.
Meanwhile, the fucking Spurs, the Spurs had everything in their hand. Keep this in mind, right? So basically what had to happen is the Lakers and the Nuggets, they are competing in terms of tiebreakers for the 3 seed. So if the Lakers and the Nuggets had the exact same record after the regular season, the Lakers had the tiebreaker straight up. The Lakers beat the Jazz last night. It was Spurs versus Nuggets with basically like the entire Nuggets lineup. Like Jokic only played like 20 minutes. The rest of the starters were out. The Spurs had the opportunity basically to beat the Nuggets and get the Nuggets outside of their side of the bracket. Because if you think about it, if the Nuggets are the 4 seed, they would have to play OKC in the second round, assuming they won their matchup. The Spurs would then play the winner between the Lakers and the fucking Timberwolves, which if
the West, the West has some just true wagons that are going to be exciting to watch. Like I've watched a lot of NBA this year because I have not watched any hockey pretty much because the Leafs have been such a complete and utter train wreck. But I love this Raptors team, man. They're so fun. I assume as a Habs fan in hockey, this is what you felt like 2 years ago. You were like, you have a house money kind of team that's really
kind of last year, to be honest.
Jacoby Walter, CMB, all these guys that are super young for the Raptors are like under 25 years old, and they're all playing super well. And like Murray Boyles and Walter are like 20 years old.
Murray Boyles, he's won me some money. Let's just say that.
Barnes is 24, Jamal Shedd's 25. Like the team is young and still talented.
Also,
25 too. Like it's not an old team by any means.
This is the problem that I have with it, by the way, Dave. The Spurs, if they beat the Nuggets, guarantee the Nuggets aren't on their side of the bracket and guarantee themselves an easier second round matchup. They lose that game. Now the Nuggets are the 3 seed. Now the fucking Spurs are the 2 seed, meaning that they're guaranteed, assuming both teams win, to play in the second round. All you did is made it so that OKC plays the winner now of the Lakers and the Rockets. The Lakers, by the way, they're two of their 3 best players fucking out right now. Like Luka is probably going to miss, at least half, if not the whole first round.
I don't even hurt too.
He hurt his oblique. Like there's even no update. Like when it first got released, it said he would be reevaluated in 2 weeks, and that's never a good sign. Like,
that's not
when there's no information.
That was Joe Mixon's status for fucking all season.
Yeah, like the NBA. I'm sorry, this year it is the most predictable thing. It's going to be one of the Spurs or the Thunder going up against the Boston Celtics in the finals. Like that is the most transparent.
I think Detroit's better than every team in the East, personally.
They don't have the playoff experience that Boston does.
They don't, but they're really talented.
But like the playoffs really expose young teams, and unfortunately for the Pistons, in my opinion, I don't think they have the half court.
I actually think the Knicks are much more likely to make the finals than the Celtics are.
Really? Yeah.
They have the experience.
I'll bet that with you.
Yeah, I'll go Knicks versus Celtics.
Knicks versus Celtics.
I would still pick the Pistons because I think they're the best team in the East.
You can change to the Pistons if you want. Either the Knicks or the Pistons. Pick one.
This is how I would rank them. I would go Pistons, Pistons, Knicks probably in a tier of their own as like in my opinion the favorites in the East, and then I would go Celtics probably in a tier of their own as like the second favorites. And then I think that any one of like the Cavs, Raptors, Hawks, or any of the play-in teams even could have a chance of going on a Cinderella run.
Give me plus 300 odds. I'll take the Celtics over both those teams.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
Celtics are a good team, obviously, but I like the way the Knicks are wired. Every time we play them, they're tough. They're a really physical team.
Just the way Jaylen Brown's playing, Tatum's going to inherently keep getting better the more like his legs get back under him. And man, like their system is just so hard to deny in the playoff context. Like they're not the 24 Celtics. The 24 Celtics might have been one of the best teams of all time, but like they're fucking really good. And I would say like if anybody in the league can realistically contest the Spurs or the Thunder in the playoffs, my bet would be on the Celtics.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, let's get back on track here.
Sorry, a little tangent.
Yeah, go on a tangent, unfortunately.
I wish I could make the same claim for the Lakers this year. Unfortunately, if Luka and Austin are even playing in the playoffs, they're going to be playing rusty. We're going to lose in 6 games. We're going to lose in 7 games, realistically, the Rockets.
So the very last point I'll make is the only reason I like to keep in mind, I have not watched a single NBA game this year that is not a Raptors game. So the only context I have for the Celtics team is how they play against Toronto. And against Toronto, they have a hard time with physical defending based teams, in my opinion.
Well, the Raptors are so good at switching, right? And that's the thing that's always made them like in their DNA. It's like you get long rangey athletes. the Celtics are like the number one pace, the number one switching team in the NBA. And when you have like physical fucking people that can, like you said, for the Raptors, defend 1 through 5,
Barnes can
they're a good
defend
matchup.
every player on their team.
Yeah, Barnes is top 5 defensive player in the league.
All defense guard this year, 100%.
Yeah, no, he's unreal.
But anyways, here we go. Other things that we would say about this team, other than you're going to add those receivers and maybe move off of the asset that is Rashee Rice.
The Rockets stink.
Yeah, the Rockets do stink. Anything else that you would point to with this team before we move on? Because it's pretty straightforward to me. You add your receivers this year. You maybe sell off Rice if you can while he's at a high value, and then you're adding your running backs next year. That's pretty straightforward advice for me. Like tight end wise, maybe you throw in a tight end or something. Kincaid, Strange, and Andrews to me seems fine. Maybe at the 403, you throw another dart at a tight end in this class. Maybe Eli Raritan falls to you at 403. You throw a dart there. But for the most part, I think this is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I'm on the same page. The well-built team, and having Hunter in the IDP, like you mentioned, is literally
Hunter in the IDP is fucking electric, obviously. So that really helps. Okay, took over this Orphan before last year's rookie draft. Well, this is in Bush League Dynasty Best Ball, so I am in this league.
Holy shit, see. Sweaty Brown Mambas is kind of
Sweaty Brown Mambas built up a nice wagon of a squad here. He was rebuilding for a number of years. He traded me Deshaun Watson for like Zach Wilson at a 2 like 3 years ago.
Wait, is that Bubba?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Yo, shout out Bubba.
And then Tony Garrett won the league, I believe, this past year, or did I think he beat me in the finals this year. Garrett Swain, yeah, me and him were in the finals this year, and he beat me in the finals. I've lost in the finals in 3 straight seasons in this league.
Oh, bro, you're cursed.
But yeah, did
you ever consider
my
just
team's
like
in really good
shape?
It's a best ball league too. So,
did you ever consider just like winning the final?
I can't clutch up in this league, apparently. But yeah, Jordan took over a Orphan in this league. Trying to get some trades done, but feel like I have the pieces that I need to compete in 28, 29. I know Mahomes needs to go, likely trade my pick before the draft. Please help. So knowing the context, literally the most disgusting trade of all time. Knowing the context of this league and that there are like, a couple true, really strong contending teams, like three contending teams at the top that you really got to compete with. I would say that playing this one slow and steady, like you kind of indicated, 2028, 2029 is probably the right strategy. I would trade you for Mahomes if that's something that you're looking to do. I definitely could use a guy like him. Quarterback is a weakness of mine with Prescott, Young, and Daniel Jones. I think that, once you shed Mahomes, everything else kind of points in the direction that you're going for, other than like DJ Moore's got to be sold ASAP on this team because he's 29 years old and he just experienced a huge hike in value. So I would either look to one of the top 3 teams like us, or in an ideal world, what I would do is go to teams like 77 Boys, Barry Blast, or like Barry Blast, or Keep Pounding, teams that are not quite on the level of the 3 of us that you can maybe convince to try and compete with us. They're going to need more firepower. DJ Moore's part of that firepower. It says it's a 10-team league. It is a 12-team league. There's just currently 2 orphans that I've yet to fill.
The exact same thing.
I have to go fill 2 orphans. So if anybody wants an orphan in this league, feel free to DM me.
4 orphans available total. 2 in my Ladster league, 2 in Bush league. So if you guys want to take literally just message me on Discord and
message me as well. And I actually think I have an orphan in another league as well. In the Bitcoin league, I think we still have an orphan as well. So
the reason why I haven't assigned them yet too is my plan is when I do have time, I just haven't had time. When I have time, I'm going to make a list of all of the available players on the 2 orphans, and I'm going to be doing it as a dispersal draft. Because I think that's only fair. One of the orphans is better than one of the orphans that was left. Like one is significantly better, I would say. So just evening out those assets, giving the 2 managers the opportunity to be able to pick those assets. So if you say, hey, I want to draft this orphans 27 first because I know my plan is to draft young assets and tank the value, like at least you have the opportunity to be able to do that.
The orphans that are in my league, like to give you an idea, one of them has like Jaden Daniels, Breece Hall, Rashee Rice as the top assets. Other than that, it's pretty barren. But it does have all of its picks this year. I don't recall what pick it is, but I know he missed the playoffs, so it's probably 103 to 106 or something like that. And then this other league actually has 2 ones. It has my 111 and its own first. And it has Justin Herbert, Kenneth Walker. But then other than that, there's a lot of aging assets on it. Sam Darnold is on this team. DK Metcalf is on this team. There's Tyler Warren is on this team. This one's slightly better, I would say. But it's not like much better because I'm pretty sure its pick is lower. Like I think it's 104, 105, and the other one has like the 101, 102. So if you guys want either of those teams, definitely hit me up. I'll probably won't do a dispersal because they're close enough.
Yeah, like I'll show. So this is the one team, and I would say that this is the better team. You got Justin Jefferson, you got Marv, you got JMO. Quarterbacks are weaker, obviously, but you have Cam Ward. There's an upside piece. Cam Scattaboo, ETN, that's the wrong ETN. Sorry, my bad. There's a Luther Burden, Emeka Egbuka. Like you have stuff to play with on this one. Brock Bowers, obviously, another one here, along with all of your picks in this upcoming class. And I believe the 2026 first was actually pretty early. And this one I would say is the more worse off team. You just look through it, like you have the quarterbacks realistically, but at the same time, the firepower at running back, wide receiver, a little worse off, and you don't have your 2, 3, and 4. So that's why I'm like, the first team I showed, I think is very clearly better. So like having them both be available, I think it would just be better if I made all the assets available and you could pick your team through. So
also, I have to shout this out because I did not see this. In the Bush League best ball, Bubba put in the chat, he put all his picks on the block, and then Jordan said, I thought this guy only builds through the draft. And then Bubba said, well, when you get diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, your timeline changes. And I'm really sorry to hear that, Bubba.
I'm so sorry, Bubba.
Really, really praying for you and your family. I did not. He put this in the chat a couple days ago. I didn't see it until now.
Shit.
Bubba. But yeah, that's really unfortunate to hear. Hopefully everything goes well for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so speaking of this league, so Mahomes, DJ Moore, obvious sells on this team. The rest of the team is pretty well set up in terms of the timeline that you're going for. And you're able to add the 105 this year. Obviously, Tyson, if he's there. In an ideal world, Mendoza goes. Like, I'm trying to think who has the opportunity. Like, the orphans that are in this league have quarterbacks, some of them. So maybe you have an opportunity to get Mendoza at 105. But generally speaking, I think you're in pretty good shape to be able to add either Mendoza or Tyson, whoever falls to you there at the 105. And then tight end is going to be an issue for you. This is the nice thing is that you have the 205 and the 305. You're in a good position to maybe add an Eli Stowers if he's there for you at the 205, or you can watch the draft board, maybe trade up for him if you need to. And then at the 305, you should have an opportunity to add, a Justin Jolie or a Max Clare, and Eli Raridan, Oscar Delp, somebody like that. I would, if I were in your position, Jordan, really target the tight end position in this year's class, just because it is a really good tight end class, a really deep tight end class, an underrated tight end class. And also, when you can hit on a tight end out of the mid rounds, like you get a 2nd round rookie pick tight end or a 3rd round rookie pick tight end that becomes a top 10 or a top 12 guy, it really accelerates a rebuild, in my opinion. So that's the direct. I would personally earmark at least one of the 205 or 305 for a tight end if you can, because if you can hit on one, then all of a sudden JT Sanders, those guys become backup for you and not a starter. And you're able to add, let's say, Jordan Tyson at 105. All you really have to do at that point is figure out your quarterback position, which could be challenging because you only have 127 first. But you still have moves yet to be made. If you can sell Mahomes for like a tier down plus a first or something, that would be an ideal situation.
And you said this was a best ball too, correct?
Yeah.
This is the Bush League best ball. Yeah. Like that's honestly, like, again, you had another solid option. Like that's not too dissimilar from the core I have in the last league, for example. I have Strange, Andrews, Jawan Johnson, JT Sanders. Like for both of us, we had like the starter on top. And I honestly think having 4 or 5 tight ends that can rotate based off who scores the touchdowns that week is the answer to not having like a Bowers or a McBride or a Loveland. Like, because realistically, again, those guys are going to provide such an advantage, especially in more lineup leagues. But in a best ball, if you have like 5 or 6 guys that can hit your lineup in any week, it's like, oh shit, like McBride gave you 7 for 73 and in a premium that got you like 18 or 20 points or whatever the fuck that actually ends up equaling. You guys can do the math there. Or I ended up hitting on Jawan Johnson, who caught 3 catches for 45 yards and 2 touchdowns. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, for sure. As someone who's in a contending window, I would be willing to offer you one of my, like the only problem is I don't really have a quarterback that's a 27 first away from Mahomes. Like if I had, Bo Nix plus a 27 first and then maybe some other pieces to get that done for you, I'd be willing to help you out, but you're probably going to want more than Bryce Young, I would imagine. So, and Dak and Daniel Jones are a little on the older side. They probably don't really fit your bill, but I'd still be willing to trade for Mahomes, Jordan, if you want to hit me up after. But you also could go after, Garrett's got some guys that you could maybe go after, or like I said, the probably the best strategy is to go
to teams like Corey Vans or Barry Blast or some of the teams that are more so on the outside looking in of the top teams and see if you can get their 27 first plus a current quarterback that they have for Patrick Mahomes. And then maybe they don't necessarily have the best season and you end up with the 106 to 108 instead of, getting it from one of us three. It's probably going to be a late first.
Yeah, for sure. Wow, there are some strong teams in that league. It's going to be
our teams are like Garrett has been in the championship, has won the championship twice, if I'm not mistaken. He won it this year and 2 years before that. Corey Van beat me in the championship last year in this league, and then I've yet to win a championship, unfortunately. So it kind of sucks for me, but I've gotten twice my buy-in or 3 times my buy-in for like 3 straight seasons. So it's not like I'm losing money, at least.
Yeah, I'm just lucky for in the Ladso League. I've won 2 of the last 3 years. The only issue, again, I'll be very brief with this. I'll take it right off in a second. But the only issue is Marco also has an unreal team, and he beat me in the year in between. He actually went 14-0 this year, and I beat him in the championship. So,
14, dude, I've never done it. You did it in the listener league this year, didn't you?
Yep, did it in the listener
perfect
league.
Season, 14-0 and won the championship.
Yeah, and like again, like I feel like eight teams I was the like number 1 scorer in this year, and that league I ended up converting the 14-0. But there were a lot of teams like I would lose to like the second or third best team in the league. Like again, no offense, AJ, but like. I'm still mad about Tone Setter Truthers. I'm still so mad about.
You're mad about Tone Setter Truthers. I would have won the championship if Brock Purdy doesn't throw an interception at the end of the game.
Yeah,
you beat me on a Brock Purdy interception.
I've been the highest scorer in the league the last 3 years, bro. I have a right to be a little.
Dude, I know that because I was the highest scorer in the league for the first 3 years of the fucking league, or like I had the best record in the league for the first 3 years of the league. Finally won my first championship last year, and then was beating you. I had a miracle comeback with George Kittle and Brock Purdy on Monday Night Football.
I would have been disgusted, bro.
And then Purdy literally throws an interception and I lose.
That's fine.
Yeah, you probably don't care about our teams realistically, but we're going to talk about it anyways.
Yeah, I mean, also too, we're going through submissions here, and
I was in one of the leagues. Like, what do you want me to do?
Half the teams that are submitted were in the leagues because a lot of you guys obviously share leagues with us. So, oh my god, right? This was. Fucking Tone Setter Truthers was when fucking Skull made it at 9-5, and we're like, how the fuck did this team?
Yeah, no, he had the worst team of all time. He was 9-5, and I annihilated him in the first round, or someone annihilated him in the first round.
Yeah, that's easily one of the most fun leagues year to year. 100%.
It is, yeah, and yeah, the fact that I think Danny, you were up like 50 points on me going into Monday Night Football, and Purdy and Kittle combined were like 54,
and I had McCaffrey.
Yeah. And you had McCaffrey. Yeah, and you had McCaffrey. And then McCaffrey started scoring points and Purdy threw an interception and I lost. But anyways, it's all love from Wee Boy Baller here. Good looking squad. I mean, you got a nice young upside receiver core with some nice young upside running backs. And then Colston Loveland's your tight end. Can't really go wrong with that. Bryce Young, Kyler Murray, JJ is really weak at the quarterback position, but there's enough upside there that you should walk away with like 2 decent quarterback options, I would say. Maybe 1 really good quarterback option if you're lucky. Resubmission from earlier got the 101 and just traded the 108 for Hunter. I mean, 108 for Hunter, now that this recent news has come out, you probably didn't have to pay that much.
Probably could have gotten for cheaper, but even still, like, I don't hate it.
I don't hate it, but you definitely could have gotten him for cheaper than that. Like, if you tweeted out that you traded 108 for Hunter, like 95% of people would call you an absolute moron. So
again, who gives a fuck about the sheep?
Yeah, again, the sheep I don't care about, but just given market value, it matters a little bit that you wouldn't have had to pay that in most cases. 101, obviously, you're going to be adding Jeremiyah Love to this team. This is another good team to throw a dart or two at the tight end position, because even though you have Colston Loveland, it is a deep tight end class. You do have a number of picks in the second and third round. After Colston Loveland, you could add, let's say, Max Clare at 211, Justin Jolie at 309 or something, or 306. That would obviously make some sense. But your goal in this year's rookie class, honestly, is if you can, and I know this is a very hard ask of anybody, if you can hit big on any wide receivers from this class, that would take your team to the next level, because you already have a nice core. Harrison, Burden, Hunter, those guys. If for some reason at 201, you hit on the next Brian Thomas Jr., Ladd McConkey type of player to come out, Luther Burden type of player to come out of that territory of the draft, that would really, really accelerate this team from like good house money team to, yeah, you can win the championship in year one. Because with Jeremiah on this team, you're going to have Jeremiah Love, omarion, Hampton, Bucky Irving, and Cam Scadaboo at running back. And, the quarterback position is something that you're obviously going to need to address at some point. Like, what would you do with this quarterback core? Are you going to like try and tier up from players? Are you going to add another player to this core? Like, what are you thinking of?
I mean, the first avenue I would look to see if I can spend can I transition somehow? See, that's the issue. It's young. It's got, semi value, but there's no needle mover at the top, both in terms of production, in terms of overall value, and B, do you really have, I would say, the craftiness to be able to get up to one of those options? Like realistically, in terms of, the quarterback position, what would a Purdy cost to move up from Bryce Young? Like it's almost impossible.
I know it's hard to do because not a lot of people are going to want to tier down to this territory of quarterback. When you sort by contending value, you are 11th as well. Like it's not like you have a ton of contending value. So I think the best course of action would be to treat this team as a house money team where you're like, okay, Burden, we'll see what he does. Harrison, we'll see what he does. Like those type of guys where you're like, we don't know for sure what they're going to be. I would shed purely productive assets or guys that are a little on the riskier side. The one guy that stands out to me there is Michael Wilson because I think he's spiked in value since what he did at the end of the year.
Hear me out too. I would almost just be willing to say omarion Hampton, Luther Burden, Colson Loveland for sure going to be my needle blocks or needle moving or sorry, my
needle blocks.
My, you know what I mean? My building blocks. Yeah. And then maybe if you like Marv, you want to attack him on, that's fine.
And then Jeremiah
and Hunter. Yeah. So let's say those 6 players, because the reason why I throw Hunter in there is like you bought him for a price that I don't think other people
you can't recoup that on a trade right now.
Outside of that, so again, Hampton, Burden, Hunter, Loveland, Jeremiah Love. Bucky Irving, Kyler Murray, Bryce Young, Cam Scadaboo, Michael Wilson, Quentin Johnson, they are Xavier Worthy, they are all expendable. Like I would almost be willing to say, hey, listen, all these players, they can get off my team now, or they can get off my team come the start of the season, because ultimately, if I can be fielding not zeros, but way worse producers at that spot, you could A, put yourself better in position to get Jeremiah Smith, and B, maybe you insulate an extra first or 2 extra firsts in that process.
Yeah, not to mention if you do insulate an extra couple firsts, it's a quarterback class. It's a little deeper. Quarterback right now is your biggest weakness without really a solution in sight. Like that's the tough thing about your quarterback core right now. Other than Bryce, Kyler, or JJ working out, you don't really have a solution in sight at the moment, unless you're able to trade up from a Bryce Young plus the 201 plus your 27 second into a Bo Nix or a Jordan Love. It's probably not going to happen in a lot of leagues.
Like I would almost be willing to say, hey, Bryce plus Kyler plus the 201, can that get me 227 first? If that can get you 227 first, I do that deal every single time.
One solidified, stable starting quarterback if somebody needs the depth or something.
But yeah, that's what I mean. I don't even really think it's a pressing need to go acquire a current quarterback right now, because if you can trade out those iffy quarterbacks, insulate with picks, and then maybe in season you're starting JJ McCarthy plus insert waiver wire option here, it's ethical tanking. It's ethical tanking. And if you can, again, liquidate those quarterbacks right now who have iffy, long-term value. Kyler Murray, we don't really look like what it looks like after this season. Bryce Young, obviously, who knows? Which is, again, that would be the issue.
The type of team that you're targeting is a team that maybe has 2 good quarterbacks, but feel like they're weaker at quarterback 3 or something like that.
And actually, that's a really good point, because I don't think you're going to be able to package both those quarterbacks to the same team. Maybe it's Bryce Young plus the 201 and see if you can get a middle projected 27-1. Like maybe that's the direction you go. Yeah, that's a good point, Scribbles. That was a little bit too much to point out.
The other thing that I'm thinking of too, though, is I actually do like Bryce Young and Kyler Murray. So that's why I think this is a good house money team to see what happens with those guys. Because I actually don't think that they're like immediate sells, because I view them as better than their market value right now.
See, then I think that's where we differ. Kyler, I agree. It's just Bryce Young. Again, I don't have him at 19, I believe.
I like Bryce.
I have Bryce Young a lot lower than you do.
Yeah, which is fair. Like I think that a lot of people are going to be split on him.
I'm curious who you have him ahead of. Like, there's no way you can have him ahead of Shuck.
In a heartbeat, I would sleep like a goddamn baby doing it.
No.
I got the first overall pick in the draft, and you want to take the second round quarterback who's already older than Bryce Young?
When was he the first overall pick? Can you repeat 2 years ago? 2 years ago.
Yeah.
3 years ago.
And he's proven a lot of ability, in my opinion.
3 years ago.
3 years ago, whatever. Bryce, I don't know. Is Bryce Young
He's
over
the
Shuck a
opposite
hot
of
take? Is that a hot take? I take Bryce Young easily.
Oh, I'm taking Shuck and not even thinking twice.
We also know that, well, we don't know, but it's also been heavily reported that they might add another pass catcher to the Panthers core as well, in addition to the already good core that they have.
Maybe Bryce Young can get significantly better, but I mean, I'm not there.
Yeah, if anyone prefers Shuck, that's totally cool. I just want to remind you that Tyler Shuck is older than Bryce Young.
Yeah, which is fair, but Bryce Young at this point, you're going into year 4, like show something. Like it's almost a skip meme. What's he shown to be a fringe top 25 quarterback in the NFL? What has he shown?
When Tyler Shuck was Bryce Young's age, he wasn't even a starting quarterback in college.
And yet Tyler Shuck down the stretch was a top 15 quarterback in the NFL.
He's 2 full years older than Bryce Young.
Is that relevant to the fact that Bryce Young's played 2 full years more in the NFL?
Well, again, he played for, we all said when he got drafted, this is a tire fire organization, a terrible franchise.
I just think that's completely unfair to Shuck, and it must be the New Orleans bias hitting in.
The Panthers are in the division too. I
don't. Yeah, but you don't give a fuck about the Panthers.
Like, I don't disagree that both of these guys could be in trouble. And age isn't that big of a deal at quarterback, but it does matter when it comes to development, in my opinion. I'm not saying like because Bryce Young's younger, he'll be better for longer. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying because Tyler Shuck was older coming out of college, he had a better time transitioning to the NFL than Bryce had coming into the NFL. Is my point.
I just frankly think at this point in their careers, what we saw from Shuck has been better than anything we've seen from Bryce Young. So like having
Bryce Young think that Bryce Young's end of his 2024 season was more impressive.
Absolutely
than
not. Absolutely not.
Bryce Young took us to overtime, narrowly beat the Chiefs and Eagles. Like with a shit roster.
People were talking about the frickin' Saints in contention for the first overall pick coming into the year. They said that them taking Shuck in the second round was them effectively tanking for the first overall pick in 2025.
Yeah, and then Chris Olave had like a borderline all-pro season.
Why do you think that happened?
Because Chris Olave's sick at ball.
And how good was he when Tyler Shuck took over?
He was good before that, dude.
He was solid before that.
Good before that.
He was solid before that. He was catching fucking 7 passes for 50 yards a game, it felt like. But he was solid. He was
still like a top 12 fantasy receiver.
He exploded down the stretch when Shuck took over because, again, Shuck was heading him down the field and Shuck was playing very good football. Like, again,
my point with Shuck is he was older, more experienced coming out of college. Sure. I think that the NFL will catch up a little bit to him and they're going to get tape on him and they're going to, like, think of CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud's rookie season, he comes out, he's guns a-blazing, and then people figured him out a little bit. I think the same is going to happen with Shuck.
We'll see. I think it has happened with Bryce.
I mean, I just think he's an ascending player, whereas I think Shuck is going to plateau or decline personally. But anyways, we can
we have to have one of these per stream.
We have to have one of these per fucking stream.
When do we not talk about
Young versus Tyler Shuck straight up points per game next year, though? If you want to do it,
let's do it all day.
What the Shuck you talking about? That's great.
Wait, Bryce Young versus Shuck points. Chat, remember this. If you have to clip it, clip it.
This is what we appreciate about you chasing, because for every comment that we get, we're like, why are you guys going on a tangent about your own dynasty team? Some of you guys like that. So
I do think, like, obviously, like, again, like, you know, we give value in the reviews, but people just like having conversations. Like I've always been the guy, like I want to go to a bar and I may have never met you before in my fucking life. But if you're wearing a jersey,
you will argue LeBron versus Jordan with them for 45 straight minutes.
You know how many times I've went into a bar, I've seen somebody wearing a rival jersey and we'll just give them fucking like a little bit of like, you know, jazz. Like even when I was working at the bakery, somebody would come in with an Eagles hat and I would just chirp them about the Eagles and shit. Like,
yeah, I had a Senators argument with a guy for like 20 minutes during my poker game the other night.
To me, that's the most interesting thing and most fascinating thing about being a sports fan is like just being able to talk about the absolute nonsense whenever you can have the opportunity to. I know I saw a video on Twitter of somebody saying like, oh yeah, it was my first time in Alberta and I'm a Flyers fan and we ended up having a whole conversation about the status of their rebuild, like with a random guy in Alberta. I think it was one of the guys that works with fucking Snapback because it showed up on my For You page.
Is it Icyvert?
Yeah, him. He apparently went to Alberta and was just having a random conversation about the context of the Flyers rebuild with some random guy at a bar.
That's funny.
And it's like, I love that shit. I've always been like, you know.
Shout out, I'll give a shout out to Matt Kappa real quick. I went to high school with. Me and him used to just get in arguments during math class about about sports. Sometimes it was Jordan, LeBron. Sometimes it was, you know,
The
hockey
legacy
stuff.
of a certain player. Yeah.
Sometimes it was baseball. Sometimes it was football. Like we literally just argued about sports in class. And I actually think like in a parallel universe, he might be my co-host right now. Like it was that because we were like good friends too.
No, I feel that it was similar. And I was the kid too. I remember this is at a time in my life where like right before like I dropped out. So like mentally, like I couldn't really focus on school. So the like again, like with school, it was like in 1 year out the under. I've always been a guy that was like, you know, a 95% average, 90+% average throughout. But like that year I just didn't give a fuck because like there was just a lot of shit. And I remember I had a psychology class, sociology class.
Really quick,
too.
I need to interrupt you with a quick joke. Everyone
Go ahead.
knows that, Daddy. When you check out, you are gone because they follow the flock league.
Oh yeah. So like that was basically me in that class. I'm like I just checked out because like I couldn't really focus on anything. But I remember in that class, you know how like when people go to like the My GM tool for the NFL and like they'll go through the caps and like restructures and everything like that. I remember throughout class I had Spot Track pulled up on my phone. And I like went through like 3 sheets of paper, like mapping out the Cowboys offseason. And I spent the entirety of the week just fucking like working on this during that class. It's like an hour fucking lecture or whatever. And I had literally like, oh, the Cowboys should restructure his contract and they should make him a cap casualty. And this will have this impact on. I was going through all that on a sheet manually because I had no fucking care in the world about anything else at that point.
I had a very similar experience. My 3rd semester in college, I was in a class, like some bullshit, like business law or whatever. And I spent the entire class making my fantasy rankings for the upcoming year. And it was like January. Like it wasn't like August. It was like January when I did this. And it was the most fun I've ever had doing anything. And it was like probably 2018 at the time. And I was like, this is what I want to do for sure. Also, I won't spoil anything, Peter, but Danny does have something that he has to do related to him skipping out on the flock league. That is not his punishment. It is completely unrelated to his punishment.
Yeah, you know, to ease the balance. I'm like,
to ease the balance. It's a good idea, and you guys are gonna like it also for what it's worth.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how much. No, I'm kidding.
We're not going to spoil anything else, but it's a great idea, and you'll love it. And it's something that makes Danny accountable for what he did skipping out on the league. So.
It's a good concept for sure.
It's a great concept. And it was me and Mason's idea. So
really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Well, it was Mason's idea, but I was like,
he's like, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I was like, that was a fucking genius idea. So
did you guys talk about it before we had the call then?
Like while it was happening.
Oh, okay.
Like not even the season wasn't even done yet.
Oh shit.
But anyways, let's keep going here. Anything else to add to Wee Boy Ballers team?
I would drive a fan crazy if I had to co-manage a team with a fan. I would drive them crazy.
What else do you have on this team?
I think we pretty much outlined it. I would take my building blocks with Hampton, with Burden, Hunter. Obviously, you traded for at a value that you
block, in my opinion, as well.
If you want to keep Harrison, that's fine. Obviously, Loveland. I'm building around that core, and I'd be willing to ship anybody else on this team. And obviously, we disagreed on the valuation.
Kyler, I think, will be a lot easier to trade than Bryce. Bryce, personally, I would be holding because I like him as a hold. But I think Kyler, given the Vikings trade or the Vikings signing, you should have an easier time selling him.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing too is the main difference is you have him at 19, I have him at 26.
Okay, so that's a pretty big difference. I thought it'd be a little tighter than that.
Well, he's at the bottom of the tier with like Darnold, Kyler, Malik, Daniel Jones, Matthew Stafford, Bryce for me. And I have
he's right behind. He's one spot behind Cam Ward for me.
Yeah, like I have Cam Ward like significantly higher.
Yeah, it's very much a pro Bryce Young take than anything.
Like I've literally contemplated putting Bryce Young in the tier above just because I
have Bryce Young over CJ Stroud, dude.
Oh, easily. I have my quarterback 16. The thing with Cam Ward is
no, Bryce over CJ Stroud.
Oh, okay.
I have Bryce Young ranked straight up over CJ Stroud in Dynasty.
I don't, but like
when Bryce plays well, he's better for fantasy, and they both have question marks long term. You could argue Bryce's are worse, but I would argue that Bryce's production and situation and all that stuff is better.
I'll just take Shuck over both.
Yeah, I would take Shuck over neither. Anyways, this Bryce take is wild. I thought you guys knew this about me. I've had Bryce this high for the longest time.
Yeah.
Rookie year Stroud was electric. You're right, but fourth year Bryce is about to be electric. All right. Ambiguity. Amon Joy here competed last year, but missing a lot of key assets. Need to figure out where to pivot and how to adjust. Maybe a 1-year punt in his situation. So this is the team that he's got looking here. Obviously very weak at wide receiver, because if the worst happens with Travis Hunter, you might just have Amon-Ra St. Brown as your only real productive guy. Because Downs and Coker and Tank Dell and those guys, they're fun wide receiver 5 through 7s, but you don't want them as your 2 through 4.
Yeah, I'm on the same page, and you do have 227 first. I'm curious what that 2 goats, 1 team looks like.
Yeah, let's take a look. 2 goats, 1 team.
That's a good spot. Weak contender
with no running backs. So
and only the 106.
Knowing this brain damaged imbecile, he's going to take the best running back on the board at 106. 100%.
You know what you should do, by the way? Go to this guy. It's funny because it's a double whammy. You have his first. Go back up to his roster. Like, can you sell him like Javonte Williams, who's your RB4, and see if you can get, the 106, even the 106?
I bet you get Brian Thomas for that.
Oh, if you could do that, that'd be awesome.
This guy is competitive wide receivers. He thinks he can win now. I bet you he would give you Brian Thomas for Javonte Williams.
Yeah, if you can get Brian Thomas, if you can get the 106, if you can get something like that, maybe you can work up to fucking Colson Loveland because this guy's brain damaged. Like, who knows?
Yeah. Last thing on Stroud is he's a Buccaneers merchant. Like, all of his production came against us in that one game, his rookie season. He threw for like 500 yards and 5 touchdowns.
But you remember when we
were horrible on defense in the secondary that game.
But you remember when people tried to argue he had a better year than second in the MVP voting Dak Prescott?
Or, better rookie year than Dak and Herbert's rookie year as well, people argued.
Yeah, but like specifically, I remember leaving that year, they had people had CJ Stroud.
I said that I would take CJ Stroud as a quarterback over Dak Prescott, but I also bake in the would you take the guy over him, that the young player gets better as well. So that was the only reason I was there with Stroud.
Fair, but there were actually like some people saying, "Oh yeah, Dak had CJ had a better year than Dak," and it's like, what the fuck are we talking about, man?
You could argue that was a narrative. I think it was reasonable to argue you take CJ Stroud if you were starting a franchise over Dak, given the age discrepancy between the two and the fact that CJ was still getting better and stuff. But he definitely. Yeah,
when you combine like asset value, it's like it was like the question, when Russ was older and some of the young quarterbacks were coming up in like 2017, 18. Because Russ was like what, 29?
Would you take Watson or Russell Wilson at the time or whatever?
No, it's just reasonable.
Herbert's rookie year was insane.
After Herbert's rookie year, people were saying like, "Oh, is this guy going to be the guy that goes against Mahomes every single year?"
Yes.
And ended up being...
and they still should feel that way about Herbert.
Because that was, but you know what I mean though. Like they thought he would be like Josh Allen after that year because of how special it was, and obviously like he can be like I feel like he's gotten limited by talent and situation a little bit, but like people were saying, "Oh yeah," like the conversations we have about Josh and Mahomes now. Because that was after, I believe, the year that Josh Allen was like solid, but like didn't fully fucking break out, right?
Yeah.
This is 2020. 2020 was his like 20 touchdown, 9 interception, but we saw the improvement in the year after he became an MVP candidate. But like before Josh had that big year.
Are you talking about Herbert still?
No. I'm talking about because people after Herbert's rookie year was like, oh yeah, he's going to be up there with Mahomes, kind of like what Josh Allen
threw for 5,000 yards the year after his rookie year.
For sure. Like I'm not saying it negative, but I'm saying like that was before Josh Allen became what Josh Allen was, because that was after 2020. It was after 2020.
No, 2020 was his rookie year, and Josh Allen had his best season in 2020.
I thought Josh Allen emerged in 2021.
No, Diggs was traded to the Bills before the 2020 season.
Okay, so maybe it was all three of them in conjunction. Sorry, I might be remembering wrong. I just remember that Josh Allen around 2019 or 2020 had like an okay year, and then the year after he became an MVP candidate. So
Daniels was definitely better than Stroud his rookie season as well.
Let me see.
Comparison. So Arthur, the comparison tool on the site, I will say among all positions, quarterback is going to be the least accurate for sure. Just because quarterback, there's so many moving parts. It depends on your weapons, and like also too, like starting experience matters as well for quarterbacks. Like Bryce Young being compared to those guys is probably based on his age, not necessarily like his experience level and stuff. But again, is there a world where Bryce Young flames out and the Panthers draft a quarterback? Absolutely. But I think it's a lot less likelihood than a lot of people are thinking.
Yeah, maybe. I just think like with what Shuck shown last year, his
one good comp, my one good comp for Bryce Young would be Tua Tagovailoa. He was very not memorable his first 2 seasons either.
I mean, is that a good comp though, knowing what happened?
No, but Tua also a lot of it was due to like injury, and he was like a scheme merchant as well. I think that
Fair, but like
the best seasons of Tua production wise, we could see from Bryce Young this year. Just purely production, whatever he had, like 28 touchdowns, 4,200 yards. I think Tua threw for like 4,800 yards one year.
Oh yeah, Tua's production has never been a thing. Like, sure, if fucking Bryce Young gets saved by the next Mike McDaniel, that's one thing. But like,
yeah, that's a good point. Also, Mason mentions the sample size for quarterbacks is significantly smaller as well than it is for like running backs and stuff.
Appreciate you, Wee Boy Baller. Appreciate you.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I remember the last Wee Boy Baller team we did had the Mason guy in there because I remember thinking it's a guy with long hair named Mason in the PFP. I'm like, is that a Mason Dodd burner?
Yeah, I also could see the comparison for Bryce Young, not in play style or size, but the comparison being Trevor Lawrence as well.
For Bryce Young?
Yeah, think about it. In year one, both were first overall picks. Both had terrible coaching staffs year one of their career. Second year,
I can think of a couple big differences.
Like I said, I'm not talking about from a size or a tools standpoint. I'm talking about just career trajectory, where now we feel like Trevor Lawrence is the type of quarterback we thought he was going to be. Whereas then, like after this year, I could see Bryce feeling like the quarterback we thought he was.
Maybe. However, Corey, when you do have those elite physical tools, that usually helps in that process.
I think that Bryce has a couple elite tools, man. Not necessarily the obvious ones that Lawrence has, but I think he is exceptionally accurate. And I also think he is incredibly good throwing on the run.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not there with you.
I think he has some real superpowers. The same that I thought he had at Alabama, which is my comp for Bryce Young was Deshaun Watson coming out of school.
I mean,
like I thought he had truly like a Houdini-like ability to escape the pocket and throw on the run.
I mean, the yards per attempt is just so low. Like
I get you can't make a case for Bryce Young based on his stats. I understand that. Like he's not been good statistically.
But then on the other hand, how do you discredit Tyler Shuck though?
Go watch. There's somebody, I think it was Jacob Gibbs. Somebody tweeted a third down reel of all the third down throws from 2025 of Bryce Young. Go watch it. It's like a 6-minute video of all of his third down throws.
Like, bro, Tyler Shuck had only 600 less yards pretty much, or 630 less yards on 160 less attempts.
Yeah, you guys call it Bryce Cope all you want. He's literally in the same division as me. I don't want him to be a great quarterback.
Yeah, but like, be honest, you're more biased against the Saints than you are the fucking.
I am, but I don't want a great quarterback in my division.
Fair. I mean, luckily, like again, as much as I like Shuck, I don't think you do. Like in general, that entire division is not great quarterbacks. Let's just say.
No, the Falcons are probably gonna have I think the Falcons could legit be a sleeper for the first pick in the draft this year. Like, I actually makes me a little worried.
What's crazy is their playoff odds are actually like only like plus 200 to make the playoffs.
I think
like,
they're
like
far more likely to have the first pick than make the playoffs.
Yeah, I guess the argument would be like their quarterback play was already bad last year, but you saw the signs from the weapons and the defense looked a lot better. Like, I get it to that degree. I think
the scenario is that their quarterbacks get hurt. One of them is Tua, and one of them is coming off of a major injury.
Yeah, I mean, like you also have to keep in mind what Ulbrich did with that defense. Like, I'm trying to find the
and I think Stefanski could play. Like, he could have Tua playing. I also think
I don't think they're going to pick
Tua becomes the long-term quarterback there as well.
Yeah, like I don't think they'll pick first. I'm gonna be honest. Let me take a look. Okay, I just want to see where their defense ranked last year because I know every time I watch the Falcons, like their defense was fucking humming.
Like what the fuck are the Falcons doing? Realistically, is my point. No JPJ and both quarterbacks could just suck. And I'm sneakily worried about the Falcons' offensive line too. Caleb McGarry retired. They lost Dahlman in free agency last year, which proved to be a big loss for them as well. Chris Lindstrom's obviously a stud. You still have pieces on your offensive line, but the Falcons' Arthur Smith offensive line that everyone still assumes is a good offensive line could end up being a huge problem.
Oh, for sure. I don't.
You also lost your right tackle, and you have two left-handed quarterbacks.
It's more so an indictment on how bad the bottom of the NFL is. Like,
also paper tigers every year. By the way, on paper, I like their signings every year.
Fair. I mean, like, are they going to out tank the Jets?
No, probably not. Like, it wouldn't shock me they're picking 7th in the draft or something like that. But I
don't think they're a playoff team, but I also
in our division is insane.
Yeah. Like, I don't think they're a playoff team, but I think they're probably going to finish somewhere between like 6 and 9 nice wins.
Yeah, I think that both Tampa Bay and Carolina are better teams. Not considerably better. It's still a bad division, but I think we're better. Both of us are better teams, and it wouldn't shock me if New Orleans is a better team as well.
I think New Orleans could win the division.
I think any one of us could win the division.
I might have to bet on that.
Any one of us could win the division. Any single one.
Like,
Carolina to me would be, if I had to make a prediction who wins the division, I think it'll be Carolina.
Let me see. Future division champion odds.
Exactly. The Bucks front seven is ass, which is why I'm not going to sit here and say they're the best team in the division, because we have absolutely no pass right now at all.
So the money right now is favoring Tampa Bay plus 150. So the clear, like the number one favorite isn't really like a clear favorite. Plus 150 there. Carolina plus 320. New Orleans plus
I think Tampa
290.
and Carolina should be closer than that. Even if I wanted to say Tampa could be the favorite, I think the Tampa and Carolina should be very close.
Yeah, and then I really like the Saints at actually no, the Saints are number 2 at plus 290, and honestly, I think they're my favorite in the division.
Yeah, Carolina plus 320, I would take that all day. I think Carolina's got a very good chance of winning the division.
Yeah, for me, the reason why I like the Saints here is I think all three of these teams are relatively comparable, but the Saints have the number 8 pick going for them, and I think they can get like a legitimate like Mekhi Lemon or somebody that can contribute day one versus like as much as I like the options in the Panthers and Buccaneers range, like how likely it is at that point to get like a ready-made number 1 contributor to start right away.
Yeah,
like
also,
I think at 8, obviously more likely.
Mike Evans left in free agency. Levante David retired. Jamel Dean left in free agency. We lost players like that. That's our roster.
I mean, you were
actually a lot worse.
I mean, when you said that in December, though,
it was wrong, obviously. But
I mean, you said they would be favored against the Seahawks.
Yeah, that was stupid. Obviously. I still don't think the Seahawks have an exceptional roster. I think that they just have exceptional coaching.
Their defense is fucking loaded.
But the actual player for player talent of the guys is way better because of Mike McDonald.
Sure, but like, look at their front, bro. They got literally 2 guys at every position, 3 guys at every position deep in the front 7. And then their secondary, it's like, yeah, they could use another corner because they lost Woolen in free agency, although Joe basically kicked them to the curb in terms of the starter. Like, they can add like another depth option, but safety, check. Nickel, check. 2 outside corners, check. Like, there's just so many things on that defense when you combine with elite coaching that it makes sense why they were so suffocating.
It's a gross defense. It's absolutely disgusting.
Like you know what? They're on top of that too. When they have home field advantage in the playoffs, like it's very tough to go walk into Seattle and beat them at home. It's like when you play Madden. You remember when you play Madden and they would have like the stadium factors and the X factors were on, and like you would snap the ball and there was a guy in your face immediately. That's how the Seahawks defense looked in the playoffs.
It's how like a team of X. It's not how the players actually are individually.
It's like, fuck, they were running some nano blitz scheme that Mike McDonald was scheming up, and fucking Alan Page is immediately in the backfield.
Yes, yeah. And that being said, though, it wouldn't shock me if the Seahawks had a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover and were the 3rd best team in the West. It wouldn't shock me.
I mean, the West is loaded. Like, that could happen.
The West is, but San Fran could be unbelievable, and so could the Rams. So that's more of an indictment on the division.
I mean, the odds for the division right now are plus 140 Rams, plus 175 Seahawks, plus 245 49ers, and then
49ers at plus 245 feels pretty nice to me.
They're just so fucking.
Also, it wouldn't shock me if Mike Evans has a fucking hamstring injury in training.
Well, that's the thing. It's like the 49ers, I would say, would have comparable ceilings to the Rams and Seahawks, but they're just so much more volatile than the Rams and the Seahawks. Like, I would be fucking stunned if the Rams and the Seahawks didn't win at least 10, 11 games next year, but I can see the downside case for the 49ers not winning 10, 11 games.
Yeah. You know also, Jordan sent me a very interesting trade in Bush League.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, very interesting. But anyways, anything else on ambiguities? We have 9 more reviews, so we should probably stop.
Yeah, let's rock. We've been kind of...
We've been yapping. You know, it's fucking April 13th. There's nothing to talk about for another week and a half, so we'll just fucking do what we feel like.
Someone paged me, by the way, because it's funny you mentioned, by the way, when we recorded the mock, you're like, you said we're less than a month away. We're 2 weeks away. And I'm like, yeah, it's just a fucking slip. I'm sure nobody will notice it. And somebody's like, does Danny know the fucking draft's April 23rd? I'm like, yeah, bro. Like, I get it. I misspoke a little bit in the intro because I'm so used to the draft being April 28th that mentally I just had the Freudian slip. I'm like, we're in draft month, but it's like the draft is a week earlier than usual this week or this year.
Yeah. I actually don't think we've even talked about this team very often. So okay. On this team.
Ambiguities in chat. Apologies. I'm so sorry. we
haven't
were
said a
yapping.
ton on this here. Okay, so this is his team.
I'm sorry, ambiguity.
Yes, he's getting the Arthur treatment. This team has got a very strong running back core. You have
Yep.
a very strong number one receiver. You're set at tight end. I think you're set at quarterback as well. I love the 3 stack of quarterbacks and the 2 stacks of tight ends that you have. And your running back core feels pretty safe. The only real thing that you have to do is work on the wide receiver core. And knowing that you have a projected, mid, let's say at worst, if not early, potentially, first round pick in 2027 to work with, and your own first round pick, you could pretty easily, in my opinion, just go out, address another wide receiver production piece. Like, does it cost you much more than that early to mid projected first round pick for Nico Collins?
Yeah, and if you can pull that off, I think adding another wide receiver to that core, obviously you have production at running back, quarterbacks you feel good about. Mahomes, we'll see if he's ready for week 1, even if it's a week 4 thing. The fact that you have a Dart plus Murray really helps out in terms of your production there. This is just, it says balance, but honestly, you add a wide receiver or two, and I do think this is a team that can compete. Now, again, there are juggernauts in this league, so we'll
Start
see
10.
how you.
I mean, most of your flex positions are going to be occupied by running backs as well. So, like, realistically, you only need like 3 good receivers given the running back position that you've built up. Also, for me, knowing that you have Barkley and Henderson on the same team, I would pivot one of them to better fit your window. So, if you're going to go, okay, it makes sense to just be competitive here, I would sell Trevion Henderson for somebody like in his tier that's more productive. Or if you go the opposite way where you go Barkley's a little bit older, maybe you tier down from him into somebody a little younger.
I probably lean that direction simply off the fact that you have 227 ones and your wide receiver core outside of, I would say, Amonra.
It's pretty young. Yeah.
Downs is young. Coker's
you also have
young.
Kraft coming off an ACL tear. Dart's a young quarterback. Mahomes is coming off an ACL tear. It probably would make sense to pivot off of Saquon Barkley. And Brees will probably hit free agency after this year too. So it would probably make sense to pivot off of Barkley into like Bucky or something. Who's a little bit younger.
And if you go back to the team you have first, I think Javonte, if you can work to the 106 or to Loveland, that's what I mentioned before we went on our tangent.
Again, or to BTJ also, we mentioned as
BTJ was the other one. Yeah, like I think Javonte, Barkley are 2 guys that I'd be willing to move off.
Would you sell Barkley straight for BTJ to this team?
I would look to see if I can get 106 plus.
Would you sell Barkley straight for BTJ and 205?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's something that would make sense given that you have his first. He's probably thinking, hey, if you have my first, I might as well try and compete, which hurts you a little bit because obviously you're making his first worse then. But, I mean, Barkley will be useful to this guy because he clearly thinks he can win.
How close can Barkley plus freaking Gadsden get you to Loveland?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that you could obviously. I personally like his tight. I wouldn't even touch his tight end core. I like, yes,
it's more so a value play for me because then you can flip Kraft in season once his ACL tears healthy. Like that's more so like a long-term value. It's like if I can get Loveland for cheap value now and then Kraft's back to performing as a top 5 guy come week 6, I know I can get at least a 27 1-2 in that package.
Yeah, this guy too. We look at this team, Danny, and we go, this team sucks. But some people might look at this team, the guy who has it. Once I spend my picks, if I hit on them, I can win. So maybe try and talk this guy into selling something for Barkley. Maybe it's 27-1. Maybe it's the 110, his 27-2, and the 207.
You can even leverage that to your advantage. Be like, hey, listen, like you had the 102, you get a good wide receiver there with Tate. You maybe 104, you add a quarterback with Mendoza, and all of a sudden you are one running back away from competing. Like obviously,
I have Barkley and I have Javonte. Maybe you sell them both guys. Maybe he gives you 104 plus his 27 first for both of them.
Maybe again,
or maybe you give him something else on top of those 2
guys. I think it would be more likely to use the frame like, hey, you spend your picks this year. How good is your 27 first going to be? Like that's one thing. Yeah. But I don't. I mean,
in an ideal world, he spends his picks and he sends you his 27-1 for Javonte and a piece.
I think this guy's going to want to spend his picks this year because there's a reason why he has so many of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like if you gave him Javonte Williams, Rashad White, and Jacoby Brissett for his 27-1, like he might convince himself, hey, I got a quarterback depth piece. I get 2 running backs that I can use and I'm ready to go or whatever. Like, again, not everybody thinks rationally. That this weekend was a good example of that. There was teams that I reached out to that I thought they would be all in on selling a player because they're rebuilding or all in on buying a player because I'm rebuilding and they're contending. And they didn't really have a good sense of their own team, which is something you'll find if you've played Dynasty long enough. Managers who have bad teams think they can still win, and managers who have good teams sometimes don't go all in and still want rebuilding assets. Like it's not always going to be rational behavior that you experience when you do a trade discussion with somebody. But yeah, ambiguity, he said, maybe a 1-year punt. Yeah, I think 1-year punt is definitely a decent adjustment here. If you can get good value for Barkley, if people are offering you like 112 this year for Barkley, maybe not. But if you're able to get a 1 and 2, then yeah, that's a pretty decent price point to move off of Saquon and 1-year punt this.
Yeah, for sure.
And even like St. Brown too. Like somebody offers you neighbors straight up for St. Brown, that fits a 1-year punt better. Maybe somebody's willing to offer you somebody a little younger than St. Brown as well, like Tedero McMillan and a couple of young picks or assets or something. Maybe you move off of St. Brown as well.
Would you move Amon-Ra for Tedero McMillan plus a late projected 27-1?
Yes. Yeah, I would.
Because I think
if you've already sold Barkley and you're going in that direction, yes.
Yeah, I think that would make a ton of sense. Bought Barkley for 107, 201 a couple months ago. I feel great about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a contender and you're a top 3 team, that's a fine price to pay.
I think it's a fine price. A little bit expensive for me, but again, if it's like a start 9, like I get it.
Yeah. This was a free review for Dylan, so we could probably breeze through this one just a little bit. This is going to be an interesting team because nobody is willing to give a 27-1 for Rice, but it's not in a bad spot. Again, I think they'd probably be willing to do it now. Any suggestions? Encourage Danny. Once your betting account is back up, you're going to need my advice for soccer betting trust. I mean, you can't even bet legally, brother. Where are you here?
I mean, also that's just like assuming I don't watch soccer.
Yeah. Also, like that you're losing better potentially.
Yeah. I mean, hey,
I don't care to bet on soccer myself, but
I've bet a couple times on soccer. But it's just like you take the guy who's like fucking minus 100.
Just bet a tie every game, and you'll be profitable.
It's like me. People think like, oh, like hockey, for example, anybody on the ice can score a goal. Anybody, like straight up. When you're betting soccer, it's like,
strikers are the only ones who score.
85% of the goals are coming from strikers. 95% of the goals are coming from strikers or wingers. And then the odd 5%, you're going to get like a center mid pitching in from outside the box.
We talk about real sports on this channel, so we will not waste your time with soccer discussion.
I like soccer.
But anyways, yeah, you like soccer so much your team didn't even make the fucking World Cup. 101, 110, 201, 301, etc. Dylan has on this team. I mean, pretty straightforward. You're going to take Jeremiyah Love with the 101.
Yeah.
I think this team can be pretty competitive year one, knowing that you're going to have Jeremiyah and even David Montgomery is a fine, like competitive asset. Is a 12-team start 10. You are going to want more running back firepower. But I like the receiver core. I like the tight end core. And I like I mean, QB is a little sketchy too because you only have Bryson and Caleb.
How'd you get the 101 with 4-10 record?
He must have done some kind of toilet bowl tournament, or maybe he just had lowest max points for potentially.
Yeah, which I'm curious what the records are in this league.
Yeah.
I mean,
so what I would look to do with a team like this is look to shed some of these like.
You just didn't listen to me.
Sorry, go ahead.
I said scroll up a little bit. I'm curious, and then you just completely ignored me.
All right. What did you say?
Looks like 4-10 was the lowest record because the strong rebuilders.
Yeah, everyone. This is like the fucking flock league the first year. Everyone's 6-8 or fucking 9-5, 7-7.
Everybody competing.
But yeah, with this team, I would look to address the running back position pretty obviously. I would be willing to shed off guys like Alec Pierce, Quentin Johnston, Matthew Golden as well. Like if you can take Matthew Golden plus the 110 and get yourself a pretty significant contributor at running back, that would be a much better move because Matthew Golden's like your wide receiver 8 and wide receiver 7 or whatever, and he's not going to be significant to your team anyways. And then at 110, maybe 201, you could spend those picks on running backs if they're the best player on the board, but don't get yourself caught in the trap that, hey, it's 110. I need a running back. I'm going to take Mike Washington here, who went in the 3rd round over first round, 24th overall to the Cleveland Browns, Denzel Boston or something.
Yeah, be wary of that. And obviously you can always trade a receiver for a running back at a later date. I guess the only issue would be is like you don't really have a lot of needle moving assets overall. Like outside,
I mean, Rice is a needle mover when he's producing.
No, but you know what I mean in terms of asset value. It's Caleb Williams, it's Jeremiyah Love, and then it's the funky bunch because like those are your only 2 green label players. I would almost be willing to go the inverse: is the T Higgins, the Rashid Rice, the Zay Flowers, those guys specifically. I'm leveraging in season. When Zay Flowers gets off to a wide receiver 8 start because he caught his, 3 of his 5 touchdowns in the first 4 games, like that would be a good sell window for him. Or T Higgins, like, oh, Jamar Chase got hurt and he has a stretch of being the wide receiver 5 in fantasy. It's like, that'll be your time to go cash in some 27-1s because if you're saying that you're not getting them right now, it's usually because people don't have anything to worry about. Once you're in season and people have shit to worry about, and then you can say, hey, like this production value helps you a lot more now versus trying to make that claim in April. If you make that claim in April, people will be like, oh, I can just think on the fly. I can adapt on the fly. It'll be fine. You make that claim come fucking October where a guy's on a 2-game losing skid because Christian McCaffrey fucking pulled his hamstring. It's going to be a lot easier to get the value and picks that you want for those producing assets.
Not to mention, if these are Dylan's friends, they probably also are impatient and because they're all iPad kids, most likely. So I would say that, tearing it down could potentially be the better alternative. But yeah, just collect as many great assets as you can. When you're in a position where you're able to be patient, it'll pay off most of the time, especially if you're hitting on your picks and you're drafting well and that kind of thing. So we could probably move on to the next. We have a couple trade questions here that we can go through really quick. A Chase here, Trevor Lawrence, Omarion, Hampton, Puka Nacua, and a second. Just assume it's a mid to late second for now. Joe Burrow, Rico Dowdle, JSN, T. Higgins. So, I mean, let's just wash the receivers.
Puka, JSN, yeah.
Wash the receivers to be safe. I would slightly prefer JSN because of the Puka stuff going on, but it's whatever.
I want the right side. It's basically Lawrence, Hampton, and a second for Higgins and Burrow.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, Dowdle's got some value, but not much.
Yeah, he's got the value equivalent of like a mid-third.
An early third.
Yeah. Which, again, in this type of deal is not going to sway my opinion. I like this deal a lot because I think, again, Puka versus JSN, like maybe this guy's getting off of Puka because he's worried, but realistically, I think on the market they still are
kind of a buy low on Puka. Essentially, is what's happening here.
Like if he's being treated as any lesser than JSN, you are getting a little bit of a value there. And then again, Higgins, I like Hampton.
Even if you were the most pessimistic on Puka, you could say that Puka and the 2 equals JSN.
Yeah, and then at that point, I would take Lawrence and Hampton over Higgins and Burrow very comfortably.
Yeah. And as much as I like Burrow more than Trevor because of Burrow's pedigree and how much better he's
I have Lawrence a lot higher than you
from a production standpoint. There is really no difference between the two of them.
Yeah, for full transparency, I actually have like Trevor Lawrence a good amount higher than you do. So you have him at 31. I have him as my 24th overall player. So it's a lot easier for me to make this type of down tier.
Yeah, maybe I should move him up a little bit because he is a little closer to Burrow than I would maybe you'd see based on those rankings.
I'm curious, like where they go in relation on underdog because I think Burrow is probably.
You got to imagine they're like QB 5 and 9 or something like that.
That's what I mean. It's like because Lawrence, the way he finished the year last year, like I can see him being like quarterback 8 in ADP or something like that. But
he is. I can tell you right now where he is. He's quarterback 10 in ADP.
That might actually be a value in its own right, to be honest.
And I would imagine Burrow's QB 5 or 6. So
yeah, like I love Trevor Lawrence or I love Justin Herbert, but I would take Trevor Lawrence still based off how he finished the end of the season.
I wouldn't. With McDaniel, I would take Herbert.
Fair. I would still go with Lawrence because he's got Cone.
Yeah, they're both great. Obviously, they're good options this year. This year, you know how like the last couple of years, Danny, the QB strategy has been on best ball take 2 or 3 guys from QB 11 through 24 or whatever. Like that's kind of been like the strategy the last couple of years. I actually think low key this year might end up being a more top heavy year of quarterback.
I don't disagree
because you're not going to get good production out of QB 18 and ADP, but I do think we could see a couple 23 point per game seasons this year.
I'm not going to lie. I think the honeypot realistically. So basically, you either take Josh Allen or you don't take a quarterback early, in my opinion. I'm not taking Lamar Jackson quarterback 2. I'm not taking Jaden Daniels quarterback 3, Burrow quarterback 4. Like I'm not taking those guys in the top 70 picks. If I get Josh Allen, I get Josh Allen. If not, so be it.
I'd be willing to take Daniels and Lamar in the top 70 picks.
The reason why I say that though is because Drake May's at 71, and I would probably still lean Drake May, especially if they get AJ.
Yeah, if the AJ thing happens, maybe, but I would still in redraft, I would rather have Jaden Daniels.
Really, eh?
Yeah, Jaden Daniels runs more than Drake May.
Fair. I mean, again, we'll see what Washington does this offseason, but I just think like the discrepancy in 20 picks between them and ADP makes me so that I just don't want to take those guys.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of like, I would imagine when Lawrence, Herbert, Purdy, next types are going off the board, the wide receiver and running back position has dried up a little bit.
Purdy's
I kind of like 13. The idea of double tapping 2 of them, and that's your quarterback core. You get Herbert and Purdy or whatever, and that's your QBs.
Oh, man, I really love Cam Ward's value. And dude, Mendoza's quarterback 28 behind Jacoby Brissett. And
I think maybe that's partially because of Cousins signing there.
All
People
day,
might
though.
think that Mendoza doesn't win the job right away.
Give me that all day. I would be shocked.
I know. That's what I was saying about Dart.
Behind Daniel fucking Jones and Bryce Young and Jacoby Brissett.
That's why I was saying. That's what I was saying about Dart last year when people weren't taking him very high.
Yeah, like
I was like, he's gonna start more games.
And it's far different between a late first versus the first overall fucking pick. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but people thought that Russ was gonna start most of the season, if not the whole year. I'm like, I promise you, Dart is in there by the first month of the year.
I think that was a lot more ambiguous, though. It's like we've seen like the Jordan Loves happen. Like Fernando Mendoza, this caliber of fucking prospect, he doesn't get sit for more than 4 games.
Yeah, frankly, in Best Ball Mania, I could literally give 2 shits about Jaden Daniels' injury history because you're trying to win a whole tournament. Like I literally don't care. Maybe,
but I would argue that Drake
wise, I don't draft as much of him, but I'm telling in a singular draft, I'll take Jaden Daniels over Drake May any day of the week.
Yeah, I mean, if we compare, for example, I mean, you look at their overall years. Drake May's second year, he had 359.8. Jaden Daniels' first year, he had 364.8. If the fucking Patriots get AJ Brown, dude.
Well, what if the Commanders get Carnell Tate?
I love Carnell Tate, but like in a 1-year setting, I would take AJ Brown.
But they also have Terry McLaurin as well, and Jaden runs the ball more.
I know. He had that when he had his breakout year. I'm saying like Drake May had probably the worst supporting cast in the league.
I like another thing that I'm kind of bullish on is the Commanders' offensive coordinator, David Blau, as well. I think he could do a lot of great things for Jaden Daniels.
Fair. I also like. I mean, like you have to have the stones to be able to move off of Kingsbury, and I guess if this is your take, you should have Jaden Daniels ranked in that tier. Yeah,
I mean, maybe I should. I think that the injury history factors in more in Dynasty than it does in redraft, though.
Fair.
I have Jaden, for what it's worth, Jaden's my 103.
He's your 103?
Yeah.
I thought Jamar Chase was.
No, I have Jaden 103.
Okay, fair. I have him at 108, but it's in the tier with Chase, JSN, Puka, Bijan, Gibbs, and Daniel.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking at my quarterback rankings. You're right. Jaden is not my 103. I have Jaden's my 105. Sorry, I have Jamar 103, Bijan 104, and Jaden 105.
Yeah, reasonable. I have my 108, but like literally 3 through 8 tiers all fucking easy for me.
Yeah, Drake has been throwing a car. You know who I want to the Patriots so bad, by the way? Give me Elijah Surratt in the big slot role, dude. I would fucking love that.
Well, bro, the Jalen Polk comps are going to go crazy.
They will, but I'll be all over it because I think he's much more likely to be Edelman or Welker than Jalen Polk in that situation.
Bro, it is fun. You know he's going to get all the fucking Polk comps. It would be.
He already gets Keon Coleman all the time. Anyone who's 6'1" or taller who has trouble separating gets Keon Coleman now.
Can we talk about the fact, by the way, that Drake May made a 65% route rate, the definition of volatile wide receiver that Stephon Diggs was this past year, and he made him literally like a wide receiver 2 for half the season?
Not to mention Kayshon Boutte was like pretty fantasy relevant like half the year.
Like, bro, he threw 31 touchdowns with Hunter Henry being his most reliable week-to-week receiver.
Yeah. For sure. Okay, let's keep it rolling here. Chase Brown and the 105 and 109 for Chris Olave and the 102.
Olave 102.
Yeah, I got to be Olave and 102, I think.
Because, like, call me crazy. I'd rather have the 102 than the 105, 109.
I would as well.
Yeah, give me Tater Lemon and fucking. I get 105 could be Sadiq.
Wise, is that maybe the best opinion? That's
in this class, I'm totally fine consolidating up.
I know, but Tyson's going to be there at 105, right? And process would dictate that if you think Lemon and Tyson are only 1 tier apart, that maybe you should take the consolidation of the 109, getting still a very good prospect at 109. But I still think it's also look at it, it's
18 start, 10, 1 quarterback.
Yeah, give me the 2 best assets in the trade. For sure.
On top of that, 105, like Tyson's not going to be there in a 1 quarterback.
No, actually, yeah, you're right. He won't be. Yeah, it's a pretty easy smash then. Okay, Squiggly Locks. T-Law, my goat here, has a juggernaut and about 6,000-ish, 5,000-ish points more than anybody in his league.
Love that.
Joe Burrow, Jackson Dart, Trevor Lawrence. First of all, I would maybe tear down from one of those 3 QBs.
Dart seems like the guy I'd tear down from the Dart.
I would tear down from Dart. If you can get Bryce Young, a first and a competitive asset, like for Jackson Dart, I'd be willing to do that.
Can you throw the 108 on top of Dart and get Ashton Jeanty?
Yeah, maybe.
If that team needs a quarterback.
Like if we go to the very I always go very bottom teams. Like this guy's Pickens and Igbuka and only 1 quarterback. Could you sell him Jackson Dart for Jackson for George Pickens straight? Maybe.
Wait, repeat that?
Jackson Dart for George Pickens straight?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like I see if you can like go up to like a Jeanty, no? Knowing he needs a running back.
I mean, this guy's London.
Yeah, like
maybe you could again, Jackson plus a piece for Mayfield in London.
Yeah, again, I'm cool going for those type of receivers and stuff, but like I honestly think if you add a Jeanty here, you
Yeah,
have
I guess his
ASN
running back core is
Amon-Ra.
definitely in worse shape.
Yeah.
Achane right here. Right, he has Bryce too. Jackson plus something probably for Achane and Bryce.
Yeah.
Like
I
you
think
probably have to do Jackson plus what for Achane and Bryce?
Jackson
108?
plus what for Achane and Bryce? Yeah, probably
108
around
maybe?
that. Yeah, probably about that.
Yeah.
I honestly would think I would rather just go up for like Jeanty if you can. Like
It
who
leaves a
has
bad taste, but you know what doesn't leave a bad taste? Having Devon Achane as your running back one.
Yeah, it's more so just maneuvering your value. You understand, obviously, from Dart to fucking Young, it's a bad taste, but it's going to be a great taste when you
It's also a
upgrade your
bench
running back.
player when you
Yeah,
think about it. Like Lawrence and Burrow are going to be in your lineup every week. Or you could sell Burrow if you wanted instead and go for, like, maybe you could transition Burrow straight for Jeremiyah Love or something.
Yeah, like maybe it starts with, oh, I will give you Jackson Dart plus the 108 for Jeanty. And this guy's like, I would actually rather work up to Burrow and you get Jeanty plus some juice on Burrow. Like, obviously there's different pathings. And this is why, for example, when we were talking about the Dynasty Decisions 2.0, Corey, like we can eye a player that we like and understand there's about 4 or 5 different branches for package of assets we can use to throw at this player.
Yeah, exactly. This guy also could use a quarterback, and he has the 101. So maybe you could convince him Burrow for Jeremiyah Love, potentially.
If you can do that, I think that would make a ton of sense.
The other thing you could do maybe too is Burrow for Jeremiyah Love is the base of the trade, and maybe you find a way to get Stroud back from him as well.
Well, bro,
like
can you
adding other pieces?
This guy's got Malik Neighbors. Can you say, hey, I will give you a 27-1 plus Dart. You give me the 101 plus like a piece or something. Like I'm spitfiring.
Yeah,
here, but like
I mean,
he's got Neighbors.
You could go Burrow in your 27-1 and your 108 for Neighbors and Love.
Yeah, that would be
108. Your 27 first and Joe Burrow for Neighbors and Love.
Try it. Yeah,
you could probably, and maybe he'd throw you back like. He probably wouldn't throw you back.
He wouldn't get anything. Like that's not a lot.
As a third quarterback.
You would probably more than likely have to add another piece on top of that. I don't think 108 Burrow in a first will get you Love and Neighbors because I feel like the market would kind of view it as Neighbors versus Burrow is pretty close, maybe a second difference.
Yeah,
and then Jeremiyah Love
wouldn't get anything else on top of it. You're right, but
like maybe you throw an extra piece.
We're spitballing ideas out here. Yeah. Stuff that you can do to address your running back position. Again, I think you have the proper take here.
Throw in a Gadsden or something like that too.
Go up big for a running back if you can. And again, yeah, you have tight ends to play with, like Gadsden as a throw-in. Maybe moves the needle for somebody, etc. Like you could definitely use some of the pieces. Like you have primo picks to use to get off of to get better players. Like 108 is the perfect draft asset to add to something to get a better player. Because it's good enough that it has value, but it's also not so great that it's going to kill you if you sell it.
Yeah, no, I'm on the same page with you there.
Let me just check one more time. Like this guy's Bijan and Gibbs. He's probably not. I mean, he doesn't have a quarterback though. Like you could maybe convince this guy, hey, you're not going to win without a second quarterback, blah, 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 blah. Maybe you could convince him, I'll sell you Burrow for one of the running backs straight up. Or I'll sell you Burrow plus something small for one of the running backs straight up.
Yeah, I was about to be like, oh shit, Bijan and Gibbs look so sexual. And then we were talking about Laster League earlier, and I still had it pulled up on my screen, and I saw that I had Bijan, Gibbs, Jeanty, and McCaffrey.
Yeah, dude, the Laster League's insane. I mean, this guy too doesn't really like Kyler's a great QB3. Shuck, if you're Danny, not me, is a great QB3 to have. Maybe you could convince this guy, hey, Jackson Dart plus something for Kyler Murray and James Cook.
Yeah.
Or maybe Trevor Lawrence or maybe Burrow. Like, again, whatever quarterback you can make maneuver with it would be the one that I would do. But getting James Cook or Omarion Hampton would also move the needle quite a bit for your running back core.
Yeah, I agree. Pretty much on the same page with you there. You have a lot of pieces to be able to play with. The one area, though, that for sure, if you can maneuver one of those quarterbacks, presumably Jackson Dart would be my target. I actually view Trevor Lawrence ahead of where you have him, and I think we would both be at least in line, if not ahead of the market. And then again, you could see what Joe Burrow gets you, but in terms of the production, I think Burrow plus Lawrence having 2 top 10 quarterbacks locked down would be great. And on top of that, I mean, you have Gadsden, you have Ferguson, maybe one of them's expendable because obviously Loveland's going to be your main guy. I only think realistically you need him plus a Ferguson, if Gadsden can be used in a package to go get you a running back, to go get you another depth piece, maybe at wide receiver, like that's what I would be looking to do. It is a start 11 league. This depth is going to matter more. If we're trying to project a starting lineup, it's a super flex start 12, super flex start 11. Let's just say it's Burrow plus Lawrence in the starters, Loveland as a starter, 2 running backs, Walker plus Bashal Tootin, wide receivers, JSN, Amonra, Zay Flowers. And at that point, there'd be what, 2 or 3 flexes?
Yeah, so Christian Watson, Dobbins, maybe one of the tight ends.
Yeah, plus maybe like, one of the 2s or something. But yeah, that's probably where I'm at too.
Yeah. But yeah, we could probably move on to the next team. Obviously, he's in pretty good shape. A lot of flexibility. We do have 7 more reviews, if I'm not mistaken, after this one. So we're still hopefully
after this one. By the way, I gotta quickly use the washroom if that's cool.
All right. Yeah. Stewie's pigskin posse. That's hard to say. MFL integration is in beta, so we can't see the records and whatnot, but we can see pretty much everything else. I mean, this one's pretty straightforward. This is a really well-built team. It's a one quarterback team. So you just have Jaden Daniels. Maybe you'd want a backup quarterback a little bit, but like it's not a huge difference. Like if you had Malik Willis as your second quarterback, that would be fine. Jeanty, Chase Brown, Trevion Henderson, lots of young running backs with some upside there. CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson, and Buka. I would say like firepower wise, you're a little lacking just in pure production. Like if I go to contending view, he's probably like 5th, I would guess. He's in 3rd still. But yeah, Jeanty's a high valued asset. Lamb's a high value asset. Daniels, high value asset. Chase Brown, a high value asset. This looks like a really good redraft team almost. Like if you built a great redraft team,
and it's young.
How good would the team look? It's like this.
And it's young. Yeah, that's a perfect spot to be in.
Yeah, no, exactly. Anything that you can do to consolidate, given that it's a start 8 and it's a one quarterback, taking a guy like Michael Wilson plus, let's say, Trevion Henderson and getting in the territory of Kenneth Walker would probably make sense if you're able to pull off a move like that.
Yeah. That's challenging.
It's a league where you don't have a ton of depth, so it's not like you want to be consolidating left, right, and center, but it's also a start 8, so you probably do want to be consolidating.
Yeah, it's just like the thing is, if you do take 2 of those players, I don't think he currently has a lot of depth. Again, he doesn't need it, but he, like at that point, the first player back into your lineup would be what?
You'd have, it's a start 8, so you'd have Daniels. Let's say you get Walker for Henderson and Michael Wilson. You'd have Daniels, Jeanty, Chase Brown, Lamb, Wilson, and Loveland. That's 5. Or 6, sorry. And then Walker and Igbuka would be your flexes.
Oh, and then
you'd still, like, again, your decisions after that are kind of rough. But
we obviously don't have the context of where your picks are. Like if you have multiple picks in this draft, you have multiple picks.
Oh, right. I guess we don't know his picks because of MFL. Yeah. Here, let me see if on the back end, if he sent me anything to add to the discussion. Okay. He didn't have anything else to add. But for ease sake, let's assume he has his own picks, maybe.
Yeah.
For ease sake, let's say you have a couple of mid projected or mid to late 107 to 110 type of picks in each round. Like you could still add some depth that way.
Yeah. But overall,
or you could use it to upgrade as well. Like Michael Wilson, let's say plus the 109 or something. You could, upgrade to a better receiver using that.
Yeah, that's probably the direction I would go to. If you could take Michael Wilson plus like the 109, maybe you can even take a Igbuka. You get a more established guy too. Like I love Igbuka, but if you can work up into the next tier of receivers, I think that'd be at least worth looking into. Like, what if only the cost from Igbuka to, let's just say, Neighbors, or let's just say somebody in that area, like even London, like I don't even think it would cost you like an extra first. Like it'd probably cost you like an early to mid 2 at that point, just based off the fact that London's kind of used like wide receiver 8, Igbuka kind of wide receiver 12 here. How much do you think that would cost to go from Igbuka to London?
I'd be willing to pay 109 to 112 in this year's class to do it.
I would too. But I think like the value might not even be that high. Like,
no, maybe not. Maybe you can get a 2 and 27 back.
Yeah, definitely try. Overall, though, clearly in a good spot. I'm very curious what that abnormally guy does because he's got an abnormally large evaluation bar.
Abnormally large titties, it looks like.
Those wide receivers are pretty sexual.
Look at it. His like thing, though. It's his like titties or ass bouncing up and down. So I don't know what it is.
Yeah, no, he's flexing a rack for sure.
He's flexing. It looks like a rack to me. We're doing some hard hitting analysis. I don't know how this guy has a moving.
That's kind of fire. I've never seen.
How does he have a moving logo?
I didn't even know the site could integrate GIFs.
Yeah, and maybe it's an MFL thing that you're able to do that, but I don't know.
Maybe.
That's pretty crazy. Either way, I mean, all that's left for you to do with this team is consolidate where possible, in my opinion,
Yep.
especially if you have more than just your own picks. Like if you have other people's picks too, then you're really in a good spot because depth truly doesn't matter a ton. All you really
Yep.
need in this league is like one good option on your bench, two good options on your bench, and that could also emerge from the guys you have. Even like Jalen Coker could become a usable flex piece. Tank Dell could become a usable flex piece. If it's tight end premium, which I can't remember if it is, it's not. But you could get usable flex pieces just from your bench as well, let alone whatever picks you have.
For sure. Also, for the next team we do, see if any of them have. Just want Corey to look at this because I will be going to the washroom real quick.
It doesn't.
No, is there any that say that?
No.
All right.
No,
Well,
but you can run to the washroom.
give me like 3 to 5 minutes. I'm not even joking.
All right, I might handle this one solo then if it's gonna take you that long.
To go to the washroom.
If it's gonna take you 5 minutes, yeah.
3 to 5 minutes. Well, I don't know.
I'll leave you some wiggle room to give a comment at the end.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
All right. So Austin here, I'll put Danny in the back seat for the meantime. Austin here has a fresh startup. He picked from the 102, reverse order at the beginning of the third round. So third round reversal. Did not include rookie picks in the startup. So we reversed the startup order. So that always sucks because especially knowing you picked 102, I'm assuming you got shittier rookie picks. If you guys can take advantage of your league mates not understanding that the rookie class is not cut and dry like that, where you can just reverse the startup order and it's going to be fair, you will pick the 112 every single time and twice on Sunday because you get Jeremiyah Love then. And the 112 in the startup is a smaller gap, especially in a third round reversal, than the 101 in the startup and having the 112 in the rookie draft. So definitely, if that's the case for you, always pick the 112 in the rookie draft because you get Jeremiyah Love in that situation. So Austin's team, if I can find it here, Austin Kern is the name of it. I don't know why his team is not showing up. Let me see in the back end. Does it say user team name Austin Kern? Am I blind? Austin Kern again. Okay, well, he said, feels like my running back room might need some work. So we're going to deduce what his team looks like from his running back room. Did not include rookie picks. Already offered the 109. Okay, so he has the 109. Okay, that should be easy to find him then. Rookie pick 109. Okay, so he's the best team in the league. So that's great. Obviously not ideal that you ended up with the 109 as a result of picking 102 or whatever, but this is a good-looking squad. Omarion, Hampton, Judkins, May, Dart, and Ward is a great quarterback core. Lamb, Igbuka, Flowers, all those guys. Like he said, he already tried offering the 109. I'm assuming he offered it for like Barkley and Jacobs and some of the guys that most people would think to sell for older running backs. At 109, knowing that your team is still young, I actually am not opposed to taking a running back with that selection if Jonah Coleman or Jadarian Price are of that pick caliber. Like, let's say Jadarian Price goes second round to the Vikings or something, but a couple of the first round receivers get great landing spots, then you're probably going to have an opportunity to draft a guy like Jadarian Price, add him to the team. Maybe you could trade back from 109 to 112 and take a third round Jonah Coleman on the Saints, or probably not the Saints, a third round Jonah Coleman on the Vikings, third round Jonah Coleman on the Texans or something like that. That would make a lot of sense to me. If you can't get one of those truly 109 I sell for a competitive running back, you could also do a package deal in which you take Jaden Higgins plus the 109 and go after a young running back that way, or Tyler Algier plus the 109, go after a running back that way. Or you could do a trade where you're taking Jackson Dart plus 109 and getting a worse quarterback, but a better running back than 109 could get you. So, like, let me see who has Jordan Love. Yeah, Jordan Love's a good example of this. Could you take Jackson Dart plus 109 for Jordan Love plus Chase Brown? That would be an example of something that I would also test out doing. But for the most part, you've built up the team well. Don't get caught in the habit, because a lot of people do this. They build a good team out of the startup that's going to be good for years to come. And then the second the startup's over, they shove the chips into the middle and go buy Christian McCaffrey and Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs or whatever. It's like, you can do that, obviously. It's a new league. It's a new startup. It's probably going to be easier to get a win early on in the league than it will be later. But sometimes being a little patient with the process pays off as well. So if nobody's giving you the value that you want to get with that 109 pick, one thing that you can do, like I said, is add another rookie or trade it for a veteran that's not, just a pure win now veteran that maybe has a little bit more risk. Like maybe somebody's lower right now on Bucky Irving or Trevion Henderson and you can use 109 plus 209 to get either of those two running backs, that would make a lot of sense to me. Hampton made it to the 211 and Dart made it to the end of the third. Yeah, apparently, I guess. Knowing that you picked Drake May 102 and the fact that you still got Hampton and Jackson Dart and Lamb somehow, I don't even know, and Igbuka. Like, obviously, you drafted super, super well here. So, really, really strong team that you drafted. I'm assuming you got Drake May 102 and then you got CeeDee Lamb at the end of the second round and Omarion Hampton at the beginning of the third. And Dart and Igbuka were your fourth and fifth round picks. And that means Judkins fell to the sixth round and Flowers to the seventh round. So, I mean, you probably maneuvered the board a little bit, but that is exceptional drafting that you ended up doing. If there's anything else that sticks out to me, I don't really see anything else, man. I think you just have a really strong base of a great team in the future. So I don't want to rush things. I don't want to just fly my chips into the middle and go after Derrick Henry or something. You could, like I said, but this is a team that is very, very strong across the board. So yeah. Beginning of the third round and not include rookie picks in the startup. Yeah, very good team. I'm curious what the team who had 101, like, yeah, one of these teams near the end of the first, like this guy's team is also in really great shape because of the reverse order of the rookie picks type of situation. But the site's labeling you a strong rebuilder, and I would listen to the site. Like, you wanted to throw in your chips to the middle and go trade for an aging running back, but I actually think you have a much better framework for a long-term competitive team, knowing that you were able to get such great value on your starting players.
This is just the definition of a house money situation here. If you can work, again, like, keep accumulating young assets here, like, can you transition Laporta into like Gadsden, and maybe you can even get a little plus on them? Like, realistically, I don't like Laporta. I think it's just the back injury that's kind of just looming on
me. Me and you disagree on Laporta. I'm totally fine with him as my top tight end.
You prefer him over Gadsden?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not there.
Gadsden, I think there's very large concern for his snap rate with Charlie Kolar coming in, and the fact that they've actually been mocked Kenyon Sadiq lately.
Fair. I mean, I guess, like, obviously don't make that move now because, like, we'll see what happens in the NFL draft and why risk that. But I mean, I guess there's also just the possibility too. You mentioned Sadiq to the Chargers. What if Sadiq went to the fucking Lions because they're like, oh shit, his back is fucking cooked? Like,
I mean, that would obviously suck. I think that Sam Laporta, based on all the reports that he's going to be fine for OTAs and there's no real concern, like, I think that the back injury is overblown and will blow over by the summer.
Hope you're right. I got a 101 of him.
Yep. You do. Yes, you do. Yeah, I basically just talked about maybe sending some package deals where you tier off of Jackson Dart plus 109 for a better running back and a shittier quarterback kind of thing. Like, one guy had Jordan Love and Chase Brown, for example. You go Jackson Dart and 109 for Jordan Love, Chase Brown. But again, I don't think that going the contending route is maybe the best decision here, knowing that you built up a strong depth of assets that are all young.
Sort by the contender rankings. I am curious where he's
probably
ranks.
I mean, he's in 9th actually. So I mean, he's definitely more so gearing towards rebuild then.
Yeah, so I'm like, are the other teams just like completely top heavy in terms of?
Well, there's a couple juggernaut. So in the draft, the rookie draft was reverse order of the startup in a third round reversal 10 team. So he picked 102. So he got the 109 as a result in the rookie draft, which sucks because the guy who picked, 110 here or whatever somehow has Jamar Chase on his team and the 102.
Wait, so you mean to tell me there was a third round reversal and the fucking rookie draft? Oh, you got put into a shitty situation by whoever orchestrated this league.
Yeah, whoever orchestrated this league. I don't know if you had a choice to be 102 or if it was not a choice, but whoever pulled the 110 and this guy, the 109, got the absolute best case scenario because they got the third round reversal and they got the high rookie pick.
Did this guy get Chase at the 110 then? Or 111? Yeah, maybe he traded up. Yeah, wow. That is the most uneven way I've ever heard of doing a startup. It's one thing if you said, oh yeah, the rookie picks are in inverse order, but it's a standard order draft.
Yeah, because then at least there's some strategy to it. Yeah, like this guy ended up starting his draft with, I'm assuming, Joe Burrow and Caleb Williams.
And then he gets 3 first round
Jeremiyah Love. And then somehow he got Justin Jefferson in the third round as well.
301, yeah. In a 10-team league. That probably
I guess, he had the 301 as well. Yeah, so he started Burrow, Caleb Williams, Justin Jefferson, and got Jeremiyah Love.
That's ridiculous.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
If you had a choice in the matter, you definitely should have chosen the high rookie pick and the low
Yeah.
startup pick. But if you didn't have a choice and you just happened to get the 102 in like a 100-yard rush or something, then you got absolutely screwed.
Yeah,
Um,
whoever decided to do it like rookie draft order along with the third round reversal is probably the guy who got the one.
yeah, probably. Anyways, we
I'm
can move
joking.
on to the next team because I also talked about that team for like 3 to 4 minutes while you were gone.
No, you're good. I am perfectly clear on a gastro level.
Yeah, thanks for the update. Krusty Crushers here. My running back room is awful. I've been trying to trade up to 101, trying to get cornerstone running backs with a trade package centered around the 102. I've also been trying to trade up a second top 5 pick. What are some ways I can continue to move this soft rebuild forward? So, I mean, the framework is real
as a
nice.
juggernaut, so like that's a good spot.
Value-wise, you're in a very great spot. I mean, you're gonna. The one thing that kind of sucks a little bit is that you don't have any assets that could help your running back core at the moment. That's the one thing that sucks.
Unless you obviously flip them, but yeah,
Yeah,
like 102.
Yeah, I've been trying to trade up to 101. Yeah, I would probably do whatever I can to get Jeremiah if I were in your situation, including giving up the 106.
Easily, I'd be willing to give. What would that package look like for you, though?
I mean, I would just do those 2 picks straight up for 101.
Ooh, spicy.
102 and 106 straight up for 101. 106,
probably fair.
A tight end premium. You already have Colston Loveland. If it ends up being Sadiq at that selection, then you probably were going to want to trade down from that pick. So,
and then see if you can flip like the 107 for another running back then, or would you just spend the 107 knowing?
I mean, if Jadarian Price goes 64 to the Seahawks, I'm fine spending the 107 on him.
Also, this is hilarious to see. I love how you're the number 2 team and a juggernaut, and then there's a guy above you with almost double the value.
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh my God, dude. Gibbs, Bijan, Chase, JSN, Neighbors, Jefferson, Wilson. Oh my God.
Bro, he's got that valuation with his best quarterback being quarterback 10 in the rankings. Like if he had imagine Purdy was like Josh Allen.
Oh my
He's doing that all on running back and wide receiver, just number 1, number 2.
Just by the way, I would much rather have a team built this way where the quarterbacks are purely production anchors as opposed to value anchors and have way better production anchors at running back and wide receiver than have a team that's like Josh Allen and Drake May as the quarterbacks with worse producers. I think you win the championship like 9.9 times out of 10 with teams like this.
For sure. Also, yeah, no, my fault. Bowel movement.
Yeah, potty talk out here. But yeah, this team, again, it sucks that you don't have assets that can get you running backs. But if you're active, if you're proactive, you are in DMs, you're in,
we can only really realistically give you general advice because it feels like for the most part with how you outlined it, your running back room is awful. Perfect diagnosis. You're number 2, number 2, number 3 in the other positions. That's clearly your weak point on top of also being number 1 in picks.
Yeah.
You said you've been trying to trade up to the 101. Exactly. You said, hey, I have picks. My need is running back. 101 has the best running back in the class. And I would venture, I guess, to say the guy at the 101 is probably not got a strong team.
Yeah. And also, too, what you can do is, let's say you trade up 102 plus 107 gets you the 101. With the 106, if you're like, hey, I got Jeremiah Love now, my team's starting to look good. If you're on the board at 106 and there's no good running backs that appeal to you and you're like, hey, I'll send I would still try and stay in the frame of mind of like, you want to be long-term focused. I wouldn't sell the 106 for Christian McCaffrey or something, but maybe going after a Kenneth Walker, who's got a 2 to 3 year window of great production, maybe going after 106 plus your 27 first gets you jeanty plus something back. Like that would be something I'd be willing to do as well.
Would you move the 106 or the 107 and get both Breece Hall, Javonte Williams? Maybe you have to throw a little piece back.
I would be more willing to go after. I mean, Breece is a good example because he's 24 and a half years old, but I'd be
Javonte's 25 too.
I know, but I still view him as a little bit more of a competitive guy than Breece just because of his injury history.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I just think like if he was viewed as lesser and you could just tack on his production to this, and let's say it's like you get, elite running back, maybe you trade up for Jeremiah Love, you use the 106 and you get both Breece Hall and Javonte. Maybe you throw back the 207 to be able to bridge the gap.
And maybe you're 27 too or something.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, let's say you have a running back core coming into the season of Jeremiah Love, Breece Hall, Javonte Williams, plus maybe like Emmanuel Wilson has some value early season because the Seahawks don't draft a running back and Charbonnet's slow off the ACL. Like I can see
important to understand that the best team in this league does have Bijan, Chase, JSN, and Gibbs.
for sure. Like that,
which is why I do lean on more so on the side of assets that will have long-term appeal and not guys like, Jacobs or whatever.
So I don't disagree, but I've been the guy that's had the Bijan Gibbs in multiple leagues and not won the championship.
Yeah. If there's one team like that, you can get away with being the clear second best team in the league and still winning, let's say, one championship over the next 3 years or something. But you don't want to do,
let's just say, Corey,
there's 3 teams like that. You probably should just straight up rebuild all across the board.
Let's just say, Corey, there's one team in the league that you only have a 35 to 40% implied chance of beating. And everybody else, like, you're probably in the comfortable 60 plus, 65 plus % range. Like, you're the clear number 2, but the guy in first is like, he's the clear number 1. Because I've been the guy in first, and I've been challenged by the guy number 2. Still a hard likelihood of, making the championship. Like, even if you get a bye week, like, how many times I've been the number 1 seed, 12-2 record, most points. I've gotten bounced in the semifinal. And I
got bounced because of fucking Jerick McKinnon one year. Like, shit happens. It's fantasy.
So if 3 out of every times or 35 out of every 100 times, you would beat that one specific team in the final. But if it's anybody else in the league, you would win 65 or 70 times out of 100. At that point, it's like, it's very valuable being that number 2 team.
Not to mention if your payout structure is not winner take all as well. Like if your payout structure is like you get 4 buy-ins for coming in second or something, it's also important to know.
That guy went 14-0.
Yeah, no, this guy's team is a fucking wagon. Like realistically, this guy's team's a wagon, which is why we're not going to trade for really anything unless they're difference-making assets. Like if you can't get up to 101, you're probably better off spending picks on assets that are going to lead to really, really great fantasy production, like maybe taking a Makai Lemon and then selling different players for competitive assets later on when you're a little bit further along. But for now, you're in a position where you have some flexibility and we're kind of suggesting what we can do. But it's unfortunate that guy is such a good team because it puts you in a bind a little bit, because otherwise we'd be telling you to like maybe go out and just buy straight up competitive running backs because you could win if there was another team like yours and not like the team that's ahead of you. Brandon Ayuk 109 and 210 for Saquon Barkley. I'm fine taking Ayuk 109 and 210 here.
What? I think you said you would give 107 and 201 earlier for Barkley, and then now because Ayuk's on the 109 210 side, you'd take the Ayuk side. Well, there's a guy who put in the chat earlier that said he would take the 107 and 201 for Barkley. But
what I said specifically was if you're a clear top 3 team in your league and you want Barkley, that's a fine price to pay. Not that I would take that side every single time.
I mean, Ayuk's a nothing burger in this deal. Like, I would take Barkley here.
I mean, I view Ayuk as a late second round value. You're getting 2 late second round values and the 109. Barkley and the 109 are only 8 picks apart in my startup rankings, or 9 picks apart.
Yeah, it doesn't seem consistent to me that you would take Barkley over the 107 and 201.
Also kind of being nice with the first one. When he said 201 and 109, I'm like, that's a fine price to pay. Like in a vacuum, I probably would prefer the 109 and 201, but on a really truly competitive dominant team, I'd be fine paying that.
So I thought you said, I thought when it showed up, you said, oh yeah, I would easily take Barkley there. And I was the one hesitant.
I said, like, if you're a clear top team in your league, that's a fine price to pay, I think is what I said. If I didn't say that, that's what I meant to say.
Okay. Cause it just, it doesn't, I don't know. It doesn't really add up.
Either way, it's a fair trade. Like the fact that we're going this back and forth, it's a fair trade.
Yeah, I mean, I have Barkley at 69. You have him at 68. I have the 109 a little lower than you do, but like it's not much lower. It's 83 versus 77.
The Russian roulette of where the tier break is going to be this year in rookie drafts is going to be very interesting to me, because I think post draft we are going to see a very clear tier break, and it's not going to just be at 106. Like there could be a very clear tier break, let's say at 110. Based on the landing spots and capital and stuff.
Yeah, sorry, I just pointed out like that was me last year.
Yeah, literally. That happens in a lot of leagues. Yeah, this is a close trade though. Again, really truly competitive team. You want to take Barkley? I think that's fine. Really, going for, I'm going to go volume of assets, try and hit in the aggregate, try and win this trade in the aggregate long term with multiple outs. I think the Ayuk sign is fine too.
I'm taking Barkley all day. Like again, Ayuk's like a nothing burger in my brain here. You have him a lot higher than I do.
Yeah, I do. I still view him as a late second round caliber asset.
Yeah, I have him.
And I like 210. I think you can get a nice player there. I think you can get a nice, based on all the volume of receivers, like you might get a Chris Bell, a Chris Purcell, a Jeremy Bernard, something like that at the 210. And it's not nothing.
Yeah. I'll take Barkley.
Yeah, it's close. Like I said. All right, Spinam here. I finished third in the last year. Let me see how many reviews we have left, just for my own personal timing sake. I don't have to be anywhere. I just want to know. Okay, we have 4 reviews, including this one left.
Let's go.
I finished third in the last 2 years and can't get over the hump. I think the move I need to make is to get a true wide receiver 1. It's a 10-team, full PPR, non-tight end premium. I also received a trade. I would get the 102, a 27 first, and Isaiah Likely for Trey McBride.
All day.
That is a big package, man.
I'm taking 102 side and sleeping like a baby. I have Carnell Tate right now, the 102 asset in my rankings, ranked at 28 overall. I have Trey McBride at 21 overall. So
not to mention you get the free roll in case Lemon gets like the Chiefs landing spot or something, where you would actually prefer Lemon in that situation, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean 102, 103 I view interchangeably. It's literally,
but the 102 asset gets the best landing spot of the two.
Also, I noticed this on the site. So I have 102, 103 ranked at 28 and at 29. On the site, the average is 26 for the 102 and 33 for the 103. Do people view that big of a difference between those picks? They are like literally back to back in my rankings.
I have them 26 is exactly where I have the 102 ranked.
Where do you have the 103?
29.
Okay, so like there's that makes more sense to me. Like I see a 7 spot discrepancy on the site. I'm like that.
Oh yeah, no, they're very close to me. I mean, it'll suck if we get like Browns, Carnell Tate, and Jets, Mekhi Lemon, obviously, and I might move them down collectively as a group. But yeah, I think you got it, dude. It's a no tight end premium, by the way.
And you have Kraft, no brainer.
And you have Kraft, and you get Likely back in the deal, who's not nothing.
And your team's young. Like, other than quarterbacks are pretty old, but like Igbuka, McConkey, Devontae Smith, like, I mean, I guess like I saw Achane, Judkins, the running backs after them are older, but like,
yeah,
still though.
I mean, the other thing that sticks out to me as maybe a good move too is after you acquire the 102, I would not be opposed to not spending the 102, like sending the 102 away. Given like your team's competitive, obviously you need a productive wide receiver. Why even take the risk that Mekhi Lemon and Carnell Tate become that productive wide receiver for you when your team is in this state? So if I were in your position, like,
this is my son.
I'm trying to find this guy maybe would be willing to rebuild or something. I'd be fine just sending the 102 for Justin Jefferson straight up.
Yeah.
Given the state of your team, like I'd be fine doing that. Not even like this guy, maybe he's willing to move off of Malik Neighbors for 102 plus something. And you can get Malik on your team instead of even risking the 102 missing. Yeah,
I mean, overall, like you wake up with a gift in your offer like that, you obviously can't complain.
Yeah, and also like the buying power that you'll have of 327 firsts during the season that you could buy. Like let's say one of the competitive teams has some injuries and they have like George Pickens and they're like, I'm looking to sell George Pickens. Give me a 1 and 2 in 2027. You can buy George Pickens for a 1 and 2 in 2027 during the year. Like having that kind of buying power on a great team is always like, I've been in situations, I'm sure you've been in situations, Danny, where you have that buying power on a competitive team, and you've been in situations where you have none of your own picks. And it's way more fun to be in the situation where you have the buying power that you can, because you're going to know your strengths and weaknesses so much more accurately during the season than in the off season.
It's like in Flock Me Silly, where like I feel like I can just like pick and choose what I want to do because I have the 101, 106, 110, 201, 209, 301, 401 this year, 3 firsts next year, 2 seconds next year. But I also have like Daniels and Hurts, so my quarterbacks are set. Hampton, so RB1 set. Puka and Igbuka, so those are my top 2 receivers set. Loveland, so my main tight end 1 set. Then at this point, I kind of mentioned this in the last live stream we did. It's like I have all these picks banked up, knowing inherently that they're all going to be going towards fixing my flex talent, fixing my running back and wide receivers. Because whether that's combining a couple to get a hammer here, or maybe using one of the picks and getting a wide receiver 3 or 4 here, like it's just being able to understand that like they all are going to contribute to the big picture, but the headliners at each position are already sorted out. It feels so nice.
Yeah, it feels really good. This is a good question from William. The plan for the NFL draft is the day of the draft. I'm going to go through, look over everything in each prospect model, make sure that they're completely up to date. And then as the draft is happening, I'm going to add in, let's say Carnell Tate goes 6th overall to the Browns. He's the first fantasy relevant player off the board. I add in Carnell Tate, got 6th overall capital into the wide receiver model. We'll talk about it, obviously, on our live stream when we're doing the draft, the fit, that kind of thing. In our draft guide, we're going to have a brand new showcase of videos for every single player. We're going to go over in-depth, like 5-10 minute video on the top guys, maybe a short 4 to 5 minute video on the lower guys of where they went. Is it a good fit? Long-term outlook, short-term outlook, etc. We're going to have a showcase of, 50 plus videos doing that for the post-draft thing. And then obviously the draft guide, as we're going through the draft, I'll be updating like Carnell Tate, 6th overall, Browns, landing spot, blah, 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 blah. But for the most part, it's going to, and on our site rankings too, we'll be updating them within the wide receiver position live. Like we'll probably have the discussion. Yeah. Okay, Carnell Tate, 6th overall, the Browns. Would you take him over Teteroa McMillan? Would you take him over Garrett Wilson? Would you take him over Emeka Egbuka? So on and so forth. We'll be having those conversations literally on the stream.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, but yeah, anything else on this team except for taking the straight?
I mean, I feel like you have everything pretty much sorted out here. 10-team league, obviously where you can. Maybe if you have the opportunity to consolidate, I also think that'd be possible given it's a start 9 as well.
Yeah, I'd be cool start consolidating at running back. Like you have you're gonna after this trade, you're gonna have 327 first. If somebody's willing to give you a better running back than Josh Jacobs for Josh Jacobs plus a 27 first, you could consolidate from Jacobs, maybe even getting off of him just in the nick of time before he falls off or something like that. And you could secure, like, would you pay 27 first, like a late projected one or a mid to late projected one plus Josh Jacobs for Walker? Or would you want Jeanty, Hampton, or Love for that?
Yeah,
because he already has achane.
I'd also almost be willing to see if Judkins plus a first can get me Jeanty.
Yeah, I mean, you could take Judkins and do it as well. The only reason I said with Jacobs is because I actually think Jacobs has a chance to fall off this year, and also your team is young, and Jacobs doesn't really fit.
Yeah, no, that would make sense too if you can get up to like the Walker tier, the James Cook tier, I think the absolute floor I would pay for, or like the floor of the tier I'd pay for would be like Jonathan Taylor. Like that. Yeah, area.
Jacobs plus a 1 for Jonathan Taylor. I'd probably need something back, like another competitive piece back, but I would probably still do that.
I view Taylor as the end of like the Cook and Walker tier for me.
Yeah, Cook is the other name I couldn't think of. Yeah, Cook would be the other one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But I mean, you're in obviously a very good value spot. It is still hilarious seeing that there's a guy with a 7,300 valuation. There's a juggernaut with a 4,100, and then what is that? Thanos. That's why we need a Thanos label, bro. Like if you're like above 6,000,
yeah, we do. We should tell Mason we should add a Thanos label if somebody is 2,000 or more points above everybody else,
or like if they have over 6,000 in valuation, or like something to trigger it like that. Yeah.
I think 2,000 above every other team in your league it should trigger it.
Thanos, yeah. No, we're definitely gonna, like if it had like a purple label too, that would be so fire.
With a hammer.
Oh yeah.
Or Infinity Stone or something, whatever Thanos does. I don't know. What is Thanos from? Is that a Marvel thing?
Bro.
I don't know shit about nerd stuff.
You don't know the Avengers?
I don't know Avengers. I don't know Game of Thrones. I don't know Lord of the Rings. I don't know Harry Potter. I don't know Star Wars. I don't know any of this shit.
I feel like everybody on the universe watched Avengers Endgame. I feel like everybody. That's insane. You might be the only one in the universe who hasn't watched that.
Yeah.
I gotta watch it.
Maybe I will. I don't know anything about the Avengers.
Mason, he's never seen Endgame. And
why would I watch that if I've never seen any other Avengers movie? Why would I watch Endgame?
He said, "Who's Thanos? The one with the hammer?"
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I know about nerd stuff, just not that kind of nerd stuff.
But he's in the spreadsheets 24/7. He doesn't care about nerd stuff.
No, I don't. All right, so next team that we have here, Mendoza at 101. From Bad News, did a 1-year retool out of the draft, but injuries hurt me last season, so it sounds like this is year 2 of his league. Should I be moving quarterbacks for win now targets or down to your wide receiver? Traded 101, but not sure Love is the lone missing piece.
So
he's going to be adding Love to this team, obviously, which is great. I mean, this is a borderline Thanos team already. He's already 1,500 ahead of everybody.
I hope the Mendoza at 101 name is just a meme because like Jeremiyah Love's got to be.
He's probably trolling his league mates.
Okay, I'd hope so.
He said Jeremiyah Love is not the missing piece. So.
Oh, okay.
You know if he's taking Love, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck.
I'd be comfortable moving quarterbacks for some win now targets.
I would. There's a possibility that you have both the Giants running backs as your fucking top 2 after the draft. Like that's the only gross part here. It's like,
yeah, maybe try and transition Scattaboo before the draft into somebody in the same tier. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if I'm like how much on top of Scadaboo would you have to pay for Tootin? You might even be able to get fucking Tootin straight up.
Yeah, or even like trading Scadaboo plus your 27-2. Does that get you closer to like Trevion Henderson or Kyron or somebody like that?
Yeah, I would definitely be willing to make that type of offer. Obviously, at tight end, you're set there. Brock Bowers, Isaiah Likely. You could pretty much put the controller down for the rest of the time this Dynasty League goes on. But Likely's 25, Bowers is fucking 23. Like,
yeah, no, this team is a wagon.
Wide receivers are set. Like, sure. Could you use a Jeremiah Smith to replenish someone like because obviously they're a little older, 25. CeeDee Lamb's 27, Garrett Wilson 25. Like, it's a little bit older of a receiver core. Like, maybe if you had
think 25 is old for a receiver
in relation to the 21-year-olds that we were talking about them fucking 5 years ago, it felt like.
I guess, yeah.
Like, again, I'm nitpicking Corey. He's a fucking juggernaut. He paid for a review. We're supposed to nitpick when it says juggernaut. Like, sure, some people might look at this be like, oh yeah, he's just flexing, but it's like, even when you're flexing, like,
you have moves to make. You can still make moves. Yeah, I would
think
say
I just sit on my hands on all my fucking juggernaut teams. Like, no, like you're the only way to improve a juggernaut to fucking Thanos is to fucking
make more moves.
Keep nitpicking it. Yeah,
yeah. Like, if I had to say, like, what are your three biggest weaknesses? Obviously, RB 2, 3, 4 kind of depth, whatever is going to be your biggest weakness. But I also would absolutely be going to every manager in my league that could use a quarterback and seeing how they feel, not necessarily sending an offer, just seeing how they feel about Malik Willis and Daniel Jones. Do they have any interest in either of those guys? Maybe this guy, because he has no quarterbacks, is like, I need to take a swing. I'll take a swing on Malik Willis. Malik Willis, I'll take a swing on. I'll give you the 109 for Malik Willis and a 2 or something like that. Or maybe he'll give you baseball Tootin and the 109 for Malik Willis and Cam Scadaboo because he likes Scadaboo better or something like that.
Yeah. Or, dude, I was gonna say, if you didn't have Bowers, this guy's got 2 tight ends, you could just steal one of them. But like, you have Bowers, so obviously that's a moot point. I mean, I guess the question that I have for you is like, if you could make a move for one of those tight ends and you can move Bowers into an elite running back, would you consider that too? Like, let's just say in that deal, maybe he's not willing to. Maybe he's willing to pay 109 plus Kraft plus Tootin, and then you add in Scadaboo plus Willis plus, I don't know, like the 112 or whatever the fuck. I don't know what he has. Did he have another first on top of the 101, or am I tripping?
No, he didn't. He had.
He
didn't have a second either.
My apologies. Okay, or maybe you have to add in like another piece, spitball in here.
27-2.
Yeah, 27-2. That might actually be perfect. Maybe that's what it costs. Again, I'm just spitballing an offer here, but if you can get Loveland or Kraft like somehow in a package because he's viewing one of them as expendable, Bowers can get you any running back that's not named Jahmyr Gibbs or Bijan Robinson in the right package. Like, it won't cost much to move up to Bowers for literally Hampton or Jeanty or any of those guys. So I'm just floating it out there. Obviously, that's probably a lot more unlikely, but again, just a scenario that you can consider.
Yeah, no, for sure. Takuni, I don't know how to say his name.
Appreciate Takuni.
Thank you for the review. Tough seeing how to value Ayuk at the moment. Appreciate the insight. Yeah, I think like if somebody offered me, if I have Ayuk on my team, which I have on a lot of teams, if somebody offered me the 2026 211 for him, that's about the exact market value I feel like he has right now.
Yeah. But overall, again, any underlying thoughts here? Yeah, Jeremiyah Love. Obviously, if you can move off of Scadaboo, given the risk that he could potentially end up a giant. And the reason why we say risk is like, I'm not willing to wait till the NFL draft if I can get current Scadaboo market value now, because it's not like he's going to go up in value after the draft. Like, people already kind of treat him like, oh, he had a great rookie season. What are the actual chances they take Love? Even if it's only a 10% chance they take Love, like, I don't feel like that's even being impacted on his market value right now.
Yeah, no, it doesn't feel like it's being. And also, too, like, I guess my question would be, what does his market value become if they don't take Jeremiyah Love?
That's what I mean. I don't think it would go up much higher.
I think it would. Personally.
You think so?
If they don't address the running back position, I think Scadaboo probably goes from being valued among the likes of Tootin and Harvey and those guys to probably being among the likes of Kyron Williams.
I'm not there. He's coming off.
I'm not saying he will be there. I'm saying that's where the market's going to be. Like, he's actually already almost there.
The best I would be able to do is move him up to 17.
Who would you rather have, Travis Etienne or Cam Scadaboo, assuming they take 0 running backs until round 5?
I only have Etienne one spot higher right now.
Okay.
The tier that I have above him would be Henderson, Judkins, Kyron.
Yeah, I bet you good money he would be the bottom of that tier. Probably wouldn't be over any of those guys, but he'd probably be the bottom of that tier in the market's eyes after the draft. If they take like round 6 Seth McGowan or something as their only addition.
Yeah, like if I look at those rankings right now, 17 Jacobs, 18 Tootin, 19. Actually, I would take Tootin over Jacobs because I am getting a little more concerned about the age there. He could wear down. Tootin, Jacobs, Javonte, Etienne, Scadaboo, and Henry is the tier that I have right now.
Yeah, I have Tootin and Scadaboo in the tier with Etienne, Javonte, and Jacobs. Also, it's a 5-man tier. RB17 Etienne from Cam Scadaboo down to RB21.
And honestly, based off the factor with Jacobs, he's got a big workload. He got hurt at the end of last year. He could wear down. The efficiency hasn't been as good. I just moved him down a couple spots. I would put Javonte and Etienne above him with the deals they signed.
Yeah.
Yeah, good conversation regardless.
Yeah. But the team's in great shape. All you really have to do is figure out your running back core. And yes, using quarterbacks, I'd be comfortable. Let me ask you this. If somebody offered him a significant running back for Trevor Lawrence, let's say they offer him
It'd have to be Hampton. No. It would have to be a deal for Hampton or Jeanty. Otherwise, I'm not doing it.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
I have Trevor Lawrence literally like right behind Devon Achane, and given the context of this team, I wouldn't even take Devon Achane straight up for him.
Given the context of this team, knowing that he's going to add Jeremiyah Love, I absolutely would take Devon Achane.
Over Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, I also have Devon Achane ahead of Trevor Lawrence already in my rankings.
You are a lot more confident in a Daniel Jones and Malik Willis 2-3.
I absolutely am confident in that. In a competitive window, I think those are totally fine for QB 2 and 3.
Post Achilles, Daniel Jones is not something I'm trusting.
Malik Willis might outscore Trevor Lawrence this year.
He very well could. He's also on the team projected to potentially be a top 5 pick.
I know. Long term, it would be sketchy for sure.
I'm not moving Trevor Lawrence for maybe I can potentially.
I just think who helps your team more if you're trying to win. Trevor Lawrence is going to have, let's say, in a if you're pessimistic on Trevor Lawrence, he has 18 points per game this year, and Daniel Jones or Malik Willis, or the combination of the two of them in your super flex, if you're playing matchups, has about the same 17, 18 points per game. Devon Achane's a significant addition to your team, and he would add 16 to 20 points per game.
Maybe, but A, you'd have no stability long-term at quarterback, and B,
I'm fine with that. Honestly, that doesn't scare me that much. I think it's a lot easier to find stability long-term at quarterback than people think.
There's a big difference between the 18 points per game and the 22 points per game that Trevor Lawrence averaged last year. So
you're right, but even in a scenario where Trevor averages 22 points per game and the combination of Jones and Malik Willis is 18 points per game, the difference between Achane and your next best running back is bigger.
Yeah, but you're also not counting the difference between in the combination factors. You're just saying Trevor Lawrence versus Achane plus the quarterback. What running back would you equate to the Daniel Jones? Because I think you can make the case there.
Considering he doesn't have another way to add a running back, it would be like
that's what I mean. But that's what I mean. You could always sell Daniel Jones or Malik Willis for a running back. I would much rather do that than lose the certainty that.
Assuming you can sell them, I would rather sell them. Yes, but I'm assuming a world in which no one wants to buy either of them, which I think is the reality for most people trying to sell those guys.
By your theory, though, because you said Achane versus Lawrence, Achane plus Jones versus Lawrence. Yeah. I would rather have Trevor Lawrence plus Derrick Henry than those two.
Right, but is anybody giving you a Derrick Henry caliber asset for either of these quarterbacks? If they are, then I agree with you. But I actually think Daniel Jones and Malik Willis are extremely hard to sell.
You don't think you can get Daniel Jones turned into Derrick Henry?
I mean, it would depend on the team. I think it would be a very specific team situation that somebody does something like that.
Sure. But I also think that would be the case for the Devon Achane and Trevor Lawrence swap too.
You're right. But they might be thinking, Achane coming up on the end of his rookie deal. I'm going to rebuild. I think in most team scenarios, it would make more sense.
Yeah, the difference that I have between Daniel Jones plus, I have Daniel Jones at 104. I have Derrick Henry at 93, and it might even be flipped in some leagues for people that are higher on Daniel Jones than I am.
Yeah, again,
they're back to back on the side.
Assuming you could sell Daniel Jones and Malik Willis for top 100 overall startup asset value, then sell them. I'm just saying maybe he's tried that and he can't sell them, and he needs to sell Lawrence instead.
Yeah,
Lawrence you could also tear him down into a different quarterback and get a running back in return on top of it as well.
You're just a lot lower on Lawrence apparently than I am.
I'm not. I really like Lawrence. I have Lawrence and Devon Achane as top 30 startup picks.
I think there's a possibility Lawrence is a top 15 startup pick next year. Second year in the Cone system. So I mean, realistically, if we didn't have any talent concerns, because obviously that's the factor.
Practicality, I'm lower on having a great quarterback too. That's the strategic difference.
I guess the argument I'd be is Lawrence is a quarterback one, and I think he's got mid quarterback one upside next year.
I think between Daniel Jones and Malik Willis, I can create quarterback one production.
I don't think you can, given their situations. Again, we're taking Malik Willis
achane than it is to replace Lawrence.
We're taking Malik Willis fully at face value for what he did with the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, he has a fantasy ceiling, but inherently, we do have to value the fact that the Miami situation is far less.
It is, but he could still catch so many passes.
No, I'm talking about with
Willis,
Malik Willis. Yeah. And I guess like that would also factor with achane.
QBs are very volatile year to year, though. Like you never know. Like just because Lawrence had a great year from fantasy perspective this year doesn't mean he couldn't finish quarterback 16 this year.
Sure, but I'd argue with the wide receiver core that they have, improving offensive line, the way the offense played down the stretch, the threat of a run game maybe is an impact because they lose ETN. But I would argue, Tootin plus whatever committee that they have, they're still gonna have a fun run game considering that Liam Cohn's still the pioneer there. I would argue that Trevor Lawrence's range, you said 18. I don't see any world he's an 18-point per game quarterback.
Well, he's been an 18-point per game quarterback or worse.
That's the thing. It's like he was a 22-point per game quarterback this year with Liam Cohn. So it's like I think his range like 20 to 23 is probably where I'd put him.
If you think he's going to produce that much, then yes, you should not sell him. But I would still argue that a 20 to 23 point per game quarterback is easier to find than Devon Achane.
Maybe, but you're saying in terms of like, I would rather take the intermediate quarterback this year, not worry long-term with Daniel Jones and Malik Willis, and pair him with a guy like Devon Achane for production. I would argue that you can accomplish the same thing, except by doing it with Derrick Henry at running back and flipping one of these quarterbacks.
You could.
So I guess,
you could.
Like, to me, the utility of keeping on Lawrence's long-term is more valuable to me than Devon Achane long-term.
And the very last thing I'll say about this is the Derrick Henry type of asset is much less likely to gain value than the Trevor Lawrence or than the Daniel Jones or Malik Willis type of asset.
Maybe, but I would argue the
world in which Daniel Jones bounces back and is a better quarterback.
I can argue the exact same thing that is what would be a 26-year-old running back after the season is much less likely to gain value than Trevor Lawrence having a big time year two with Liam Cohn.
Are you talking about Achane?
Yeah, I think it's very, very more.
Isn't he 24?
No, he's 25. He's 2001, right?
He won't be 25 until October, dude.
Okay, 25 in season, so he'll be 26 going into next season. I'm basically saying
he will be 25 going into next season. He won't be 25 this year until October.
That's what I'm saying. He's going to be turning 26 going into next season.
Yeah. No, during the season, he'll be 26.
Yeah, he was born in 01 is what I'm saying, Corey.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so we're saying the same thing. Also, yeah, I know you're joking. Trevor Lawrence, if he has a big year, tell me why he would be going after Joe Burrow in startups. If he's like another top 5 season with Liam Cohn, second year in the system, a team that looked like
you're not wrong. I'm just looking at it with the context of this guy's team and how dominant it is. I would rather play for the production and risk it on the quarterbacks. But anyways, we need to move on. I
think you could do the same thing. Like again, I would rather the combo of Trevor Lawrence and Derrick Henry. You would rather combo of Daniel Jones plus Devon Achane. That's basically the nuts and bolts of the argument.
Yeah, essentially.
Long-winded away for basically saying that we would approach it differently.
Yeah. Anyways.
You're good, Mace.
Yeah. Anything else that sticks out with this team other than we could probably move on. We talked this to death pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, we gave you the 2 ways you can approach it.
Yeah, we talked to death. We're good.
Yeah, for sure. Corey wants to move on.
All right, here. Sound Colonel here, Manchester Forgers. So he's 4th here. He's from the UK. Shout out. Appreciate the review. Curious to hear your thoughts. I feel like I'm in a decent position if my receivers kick on, but considering extending the rebuild another year, trying to move Josh Allen for a QB plus a wide receiver. So I guess his thought process is I could tear down from Josh Allen, get a great receiver and a great quarterback back, which generally I don't love doing. Like as a rule, I don't like taking Josh Allen, trading him for Jackson Dart plus Tedero and McMillan. Like, I just don't think it's generally going to work out from a process standpoint most of the time, unless you really nut out on both of those assets. And they, like last year, if you took Josh Allen and you got Drake May plus Drake London, then it obviously worked out for you because Drake May's as valuable as Josh Allen right now. Yeah. But most of the time, I feel like that doesn't happen.
Yeah. You just have to insulate yourself like in a very particular way.
Like you got to be getting a great receiver back. Like it can't be like Garrett Wilson back. It's got to be like Amon-Ra back or something.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, clear need is going to be at tight end. I do think you probably need a high end wide receiver or 2, like legitimately 2 top.
Yeah. To answer his original question, he said, should I consider extending my rebuild another year? I think you should.
Yeah, I would too. You're a strong rebuilder for a reason. If that gives you an opportunity in season to sell, like Bucky Irving starts strong, Quentin Johnson starts strong, guys like
I'd
that can
gauge
go
the
off the
price
edge.
on Achane a little bit too,
Um,
just because
oh, absolutely, I
as much
would.
as I love Achane, he doesn't quite fit your rebuild at the moment. And you don't have any picks this year, too. Like if you had all of your picks this year and you were picking like 104 in every round, I could see a world where it's like, hey, hit on that wide receiver, hit on a tight end at some point, and maybe you could be a house money team. But I do think because you don't have any of your 2026 picks, you probably do have to kick this can down the road a little more aggressive than just not trying to be aggressive and go for a win now. It would behoove you to be patient with this thing, I think.
For sure. Also, I feel like my rankings on the site got jumbled a little bit. I'm fixing them right now because I
Um,
had I had Hampton above Achan for the entire time, but he just randomly showed up higher in my rankings now. Has that
yeah,
ever
I mean,
happened to you?
no, I don't think so. Not
Because
like
I had
intentionally.
I had Achan in the tier with like Hertz, and I checked my rankings, and he was up to 18, and I'm like, I never put him there. And also, yeah, like okay, I gotta,
Actually, yeah, now that I think about it, Achan should not be my RB3.
yeah, like,
Like I have Jeanty and Hampton over Achan in my rankings.
and Bowers is lower than I had him. Okay, I'm gonna adjust some stuff. I'm only saying it right now because I know Mason's in chat, but
Okay,
um,
well, yeah, maybe ask the devs if some shit shifted around here. But either way,
yeah,
I think philosophically, this team, like you said, needs a tight end, needs a hammer wide receiver. If you had a hammer wide receiver and a good tight end, like let's say this team had Tucker Kraft and Malik Neighbors on it, I would say, yeah, no doubt about it, house money type of team. But because you don't have those assets and they're hard assets to acquire, you probably are going to need to maybe shed any kind of immediate production type of players like Michael Pittman, like maybe Devon Achane, who could have another great season this year. Although Achane is a little bit of a weird case because he also could be better going forward after this year. Sounds like the Dolphins and him aren't close on an extension. Maybe he's like a Brees Hall type of asset where even though he's more so in his prime than before his prime, you want to hold him for another year because the situation could get better. Um, yeah, anything you want to add here aside from just like maybe shedding some production and like you said, Bucky Irving potentially, who's still really young, but maybe spikes in value. Any value spikes realistically, you probably want to capitalize on.
yeah. I mean, overall, I think the process of kicking it another year down the road is sound.
Yeah,
I
because
think
again, you don't
the
have your
late,
picks. If you had your
yeah,
picks, it would be different.
yeah, for sure.
But this year, if somehow you could, let's say you sold off Michael Pittman for like a 2 and a 3 this year, if you could somehow get an opportunity to take a swing at a very deep tight end class this season by shedding some assets that aren't very valuable on your roster right now and getting back into the 2026 class, that wouldn't be a bad idea either. Like let's say
I
somebody
don't mind
offered you,
just punting a year down because honestly,
but you need to sell guys like Pittman anyways. Like what if the best you get offered is like 208 and 304 this year?
yeah, I just think personally you're probably going to get a better haul in season because who's trading that right now for Michael Pittman Jr.?
Yeah, that's true. And you also might get a better haul in 2027 because, like you said, you're from the UK. I'm not sure if you're. It seems like everyone you're playing with is from the UK. I see Cambridge. I see Chest. It seems like they're all UK players. So maybe they don't. They're not as plugged in as like some people who are playing like all the time.
Yeah,
2027's the class. Like maybe you can get a nice value on 2027 capital. If that's the case, then you should be selling a lot of players for sure.
yeah.
But yeah, we could probably move on to the next thing. And hopefully I didn't do I feel like every time someone mentions they're from the UK or Australia, people go, oh, like, and they'll try and do a UK accent, like if they're like a streamer like you and I. So it's good that we're not doing that.
Oi.
Yeah, no, well, you just did it. You ruined it. This is a deal that is very intriguing. Jaden Daniels actually, no, it's not intriguing. This is Jaden Daniels and CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, it doesn't say here, but let's say for just to make this a closer conversation, let's say that pick's guaranteed early.
yeah, I mean,
It's still Jaden Daniels and CeeDee Lamb, right?
one quarterback league, unless that's literally like the 101 or 102 projection. It's
Okay, it's one quarterback, so Daniel's going to lose some value, I guess.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm saying like, unless that pick is guaranteed to be like 101 or 102, it's still the right side.
Yeah, like even in a one quarterback league, I'd rather have Jaden Daniels than Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, which again, I kind of
It's pretty straightforward here. And Lamb for Hunter, the first and the second, I think. is pretty still easily his side. Okay, this should be the last one that we do. If anybody in the chat right now buys anything, obviously we'll still do it during the duration of us doing the Steam review, but otherwise we're going to sign out here hopefully before the 3-hour mark. Here we go with Ginger Ale, who of course submits a lot of teams to us. What should I do in this league? Won the league last year in its first year. League is IDP, so Hunter is fine either way. Any trade targets, trade 4 targets, not an FSE league. So based on his team, I think the big example of like where he'd be lacking would be like a solidified dude at wide receiver.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say not an FSE league, and then I'm like, because I recognize Drew Winter, and I'm like, I'm one of AJ's leagues that he's run. Me and Fletch share a team in. He's in that league, but it's probably just some of his like other buddies that he did it with. So
yeah, I'm assuming it's somebody he knows in real life.
Any trade away targets and trade 4 targets. I mean, right off the bat, if you can trade one of Fannin or Kraft just from a team roster construction perspective, probably going to be your best bet. Like I love both those tight ends, but with having likely Ferguson and Njoku after them, I don't think you need both of them. So that's just an easy value change that you're going to be able to do, transitioning that to, I would say probably quarterback.
Yeah, quarterback or like a hammer at wide receiver. Like if you could take Devontae Smith, Tucker Kraft, and your 27 first and go get a wagon receiver, like that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, maybe get like a Stafford thrown on there just for a quarterback 3.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, like I'm trying to find it. Let's see some of these like shallow teams. Does anybody like this guy has Collins, he has Rice, he has Pickens. He already has tight end. Let's see if a team that doesn't have a good tight end. This guy's Mason Taylor, Marvin Harrison. Maybe you could take like Mike Evans plus Tucker Kraft and try and convince this guy he's like a contending team. Be like, hey, Mike Evans plus Tucker Kraft, you get a tight end, you get a better receiver competitive wise. Would you give me Marvin Harrison for that?
Did you move Lamar Jackson back up to 10?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so definitely something happened on the site because I thought I was going crazy.
Yeah, Lamar should not be my number 10 overall player. He's not that far. He should be 12, but
yeah, like I noticed some of them were just not what I had them at.
Yeah, maybe there was like a reset that Joe had to go back to our last update or something on.
Maybe.
Like maybe it's like a March update that he went back to.
Yeah,
because I did recently move achane below those guys. I did recently move Lamar down from 10.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like during our startup is when I did that.
Yeah, which was about the same for me, which is why I was a little bit confused.
AirCap really wants Fannin, he said. Okay.
Yes, sir. By the way, good shit, Atomic.
Okay, so if this guy really wants Fannin, one thing that you could do with him is make would you do Fannin for Harrison and Malik Willis?
Fannin for Harrison and Malik Willis? Probably. That just doesn't feel great.
I mean, I have Fannin and
Harrison. You have Harrison higher than
Harrison above Fannin.
Yeah,
so I would do it. But I know you're lower.
Like I would do it with BTJ, and I have BTJ higher.
Right. Okay. So if you can pull off something like that, then by all means,
this guy's a weak rebuilder. Can you go after his 27-1?
Yeah, what I was just gonna suggest is my guess is this guy's a moron and thinks he can compete. If he wants Fannin, he's thinking, I'm going to fill up my starting lineup and tight end's my biggest weakness. So yeah, maybe go after his 27-1 instead.
Hey, how about this? Fannin plus go to your.
He already has Hunter and Jacoby Myers for what it's worth on BTJ.
That's a good point. So maybe it is Marv then. Again, I don't have Marv where you do, but like, can you get Marv the 1 and the 2 for Fannin and something else?
Mike Evans.
Yeah, you could try that. I would even be willing to do like
AJ, what does this guy think he is? He think he's contending? Because if he thinks he's contending, you should offer him Fannin and Evans and maybe throw in Algier or something too, or Cousins or something. Somebody that he could feel decent about as a competitive asset.
I would be willing to do the 27-1 and 2 straight up for Fannin too. If the guy's just a moron, thinks I want tight end away from winning.
Yeah, I'd be willing to do that as well. I personally I think Harrison is like probably one of the biggest buy lows in all of Dynasty. So I'm actively buying Harrison, even though I already have 7 shares of him across my portfolio.
But he just loves Fannin. Although he just dealt Tootin for the 108. That's not bad. Yeah, like where do you have Fannin in relation to me? Like I have Harrison. I have Harrison at 25. You have him at 18. So we're kind of.
I am at 50 overall though, which you probably have in like the 70s.
I have him. Harrison. 73.
Yeah. So that's a pretty big discrepancy in terms of like, I'd be willing to give up any pick in this year's rookie class, not named 105 or earlier. Like I'd actually in a vacuum,
I have him
I'd
about the
rather have
line the
Marvin
same.
Harrison than Jordan Tyson straight up.
Well, so I have the 105 higher, but everything else like 106 and lower, I have Harrison.
The pick you can argue because it could end up not being Tyson.
Well,
obviously.
I guess the other thing is like I have AJ Brown above him. You probably don't, but it comes back to the same thing that we were talking about with like Brown and Hunter earlier.
Yeah.
I have
him over Rome. I have him over Flowers. I have him over Burden. I have him over Brian Thomas. I have him over Waddle. I have him over Smitty. I have him over AJ Brown.
I have him in the range under that.
Yeah. I view Harrison as very good. What's the trade you think makes sense? Like I just said, AJ, my trade that makes sense is I would trade Fannin for Harrison straight up. I'd be fine doing it. But if you want an insulated value kind of piece, maybe you could convince him to somehow give you like Malik Willis in part of the deal. Like
I think
27-1.
I think 27-1-2 is a great fucking spot to be. If you said he loves Fannin and he's willing to probably even overpay by market, probably think his
27-1-2 is later. So we're giving you two different outs here, I guess, with these.
Like that would probably be my favorite outcome because knowing the context of this league, like again, I know some of AJ's buddies, they are like more like production based, win now based.
Right.
So he's probably completely overvaluing his pick. He's probably thinking, I add Jeremiyah Love
110, 112, something like that.
Yeah, whereas like we see the volatility in his team, he's probably seeing, oh my God, my fucking starting lineup could be Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, James Cook, Jeremiyah Love. Let's just say it's Marvin Harrison, Brian Thomas Jr., Devontae Adams with Fannin at tight end. Like he's probably looking at that thinking,
I still think that guy's pick is probably closer to like 107 to 110.
That would be a great move as well.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. That combines the two trades that we just talked about. I would fucking love that.
Yeah. No, you got a lot of avenues here. Ultimately, you said he's very like he really wants Fannin. He just loves Fannin. That would help you out because you have two good tight end options. Being able to sell one for extra insulation elsewhere where the roster needs it is going to be greatly appreciated. And make sure you send him a thank you note for helping you.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, and the other thing you could do, like we didn't really talk about, is or I mentioned it earlier, but one thing you could do, like I said, is maybe take to a competitive team, take Mike Evans plus your 2027 one and see if you can get closer to a hammer wide receiver for yourself. Because if Danny mentioned your league mates are very focused on production, people might be very excited about Mike Evans on the 49ers. And maybe you can get Mike Evans as like a late first caliber value in your league plus your 2027 first. And then for 2 firsts of value, I mean, maybe you're able to get up to a Emeka Egbuka, Tedero, McMillan, or higher, maybe even London or something like that.
Hey, Corey.
What hammer he wants to know. Okay, let's find a competitive team.
Corey, who is Evan Siddery? Who is Cameron Wolfe? Who is Ian Rappaport? Adam Schefter an hour ago literally said he's still going to play offense as well. So like for all these fucking people that were pumping the bullshit report, where are we going to see the people saying, oh, actually, my bad, I overreacted. Obviously, he was still going to play offense. The fuck is wrong with people? I'm sorry. They run with a stupid fucking report in March, pass it off as the Bible. The entire market is like, see, I told you so, when the report was completely misconstrued to begin with, and Adam Schefter literally had to clarify it.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy that Schefter came out and said that. Little tangent indeed.
Holy shit.
I'm assuming, AJ, you've reached out to this guy, but because he's a competitive team, maybe he'd be interested in trading for Mike Evans and your 27 first for Drake, like for Drake London as the basis, or Tedero McMillan as the basis of that deal. Maybe you have to add more. Maybe you have to add other pieces. I'm not sure, but that could be the basis of that trade. Because I think the McMillan London range would be the type of receiver that would be awesome on your team.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense too.
But yeah, like let me look one more time here. I mean, this guy has neighbors. Maybe you could use something to go and get him.
Wait, Rome alone. AJ, is that who I think it is? Is that who I think it is in your league? Is that what's his name? Deadpool?
Maybe.
Why did someone
this guy is Jefferson? Maybe you could go after Jefferson using the same kind of package, 1 and 2 plus Evans to get to Jefferson. Maybe he'd be interested in something like that. But anyways, yeah, feel like we gave you a number of different options. I am starving. We are gonna head off of here on the 3-hour mark or so. Hopefully we don't always go 3 hours on these streams. But we appreciate all of you guys. We went through probably 20 team reviews. Like I think we had 12 going in or 13 going into today. And then we got at least another 5 throughout the stream. So really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Again, make sure to tune in this week. We're going to have a fun week of stuff. We're going to go through our quarterback tier list rookie rankings, running back tier list rookie rankings, probably top 5 to 10 for quarterbacks, top 10 to 15 for running backs, top 15 to 20 probably for wide receivers, and then top 10, I would say, for tight ends. So we're going to go through. We have not, it's weird because you probably assume, oh, you've already probably done that. No, we haven't done a rookie rankings video this entire offseason. So we've obviously our rookie rankings have been in our draft guide the entire time and on the site, but we haven't done a video on rookies.
Yeah. And you guys might have gotten like a gist of players we like when we talk through like a landing spot mock drafts, but like being able to dial it down again, I'm assuming we'll talk about it like amongst ourselves, but we're probably going to do something on like a basis of a tier list of where.
We'll do a tier list for sure. Them. Yeah. Like this is the, this tier. It's Mekhi Lemon, Carnell Tate. And then it's we have Jordan Tyson kind of in a tier of his own or whatever. Like we're going to go through all that. Those
but like the tiers would probably be like, for example, in that relation, we would say the 102 to 104 tier would be Tate and Lemon. The 105, 106, like basically.
Yeah. We'll do it on the site. So we'll talk through that stuff in terms of, the site rankings and whatnot. How long have y'all been live for?
Almost 3 hours.
Y'all are putting in the work. Yeah. I mean, we're going to be doing this coming up very soon. We are officially 10 days away from the NFL draft, and our NFL draft live stream will be longer than this one. So,
my goal is just to be able to form coherent sentences by the end.
I'm going to need to carry the live stream like I do every year because Danny's usually hammered by the end of it.
Bro, it's still the funniest to this day. Shout out Mason if you're still in here. Was when we hopped on to give like the gut reactions after. I'm like, Mason, you're sure? Like this is just like chill. We can shoot the shit. He's like, bro, you're totally fine. I go in there. He has a suit on. There's like 2,500 people in chat. I just keep spamming wouldn't bat an eye emotes and that was.
Yeah, it was funny.
That was an experience.
Anyways, appreciate you guys for tuning in. And that was the best thing that happened on the live stream. Yeah, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned for all of those videos coming this week. We'll also probably talk through some, team visits. Somebody asked in the comments, are you going to do the team visits video again? I'm definitely going to do that. We also want to do like a official My Guys list before the draft as well. That might be early next week that we do that. But yeah, definitely going to be a lot of fun. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe. And if you want to get team reviews, again, still buy one, get one 50% off over on the site, flockfantasy.com/FSE. Appreciate you.